right. Well, welcome to the Mel Movie podcast. Today I have two co hosts with me, both my friends on TikTok. We've been friends for a long time, always discussing movies. Such a good time. I have Rusty from Rusty Reels. You can find him on YouTube, TikTok, and IG, and also Real Talk with Spear on YouTube and Talk with Spear on TikTok and IG. How you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Doing good.
This is
Excited.
exciting because we are going to be talking about a kind of a controversial movie that came out last week, even though we've had some really cool movies coming out this week. But we wanted to give everybody a chance to watch this movie because that we're going to have full spoilers ahead. So if you have not seen Evil Dead Burn and you do not want to be spoiled, then you just need to get out of here because we are going to spoil literally everything. All the spoilers, full spoilers. So I wanted to ask you guys, we'll start with you, Rusty. What is your overall rating of Evil Dead Burn?
So on Evil Dead Burn, I ended up with a 2 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 10, basically. It just didn't work for me, but I can understand why some people enjoyed it with the gore and everything.
All right, and Spear, what is your rating of the movie?
Mine's is about the same with Rusty. I'd go out of 10, so it's like a 4 out of 10 for me. Um, Definitely was looking for something outside of like what they've been doing with the Evil Dead films. I missed the campiness of the original movie, but I understand that they're trying to do something different, and I understand they're trying to do something different with the story, but I just think this joint just like gratuitous at the best when it came to like the horror and the grossness and all the stuff that they had going on. But that's neither here or there. We could talk about it.
We're definitely going to go into it. I'm going to say for me, for my overall rating of this movie, I'm going to give it, this has got to be something like a 3 out of 5 for me. This movie is not that bad. I had a good time with it. It did miss on some of the kind of like underlying tones that it had, I thought. But for a movie, I think it had some really solid kills, and I can always appreciate that. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Not the best movie, but definitely not the worst movie. Especially I watch a lot of really bad movies, so not a bad one. So with this movie is really interesting compared to the other Evil Dead. We'll say some of the other Evil Dead movies, maybe not the newer ones because Evil Dead Rise was directed by Lee Cronin, and then we had Evil Dead 2013, another director. But we have here kind of like an indie French director, Sebastian Vicek, that directed this Evil Dead Burn. And previously, he had directed kind of like this horror spider movie, Infested 2023, I think is the year. So I did see in kind of like a small interview online somewhere that Sam Raimi was really excited to work with Sebastian after watching Infested and was trying to see if he would be interested in kind of doing a movie on the franchise because it does seem like a lot of directors are getting their footing maybe in this like larger budget horror door through the Evil Dead franchise because they had been working on smaller movies. So, what are your thoughts on Sebastian as a director on this movie, I guess, compared to the other newer Evil Dead movies? Rusty?
So yeah, I love the director's Infested movie. I've watched it a couple times, and so I didn't go into this realizing it was the same director. I caught that after the fact, so that kind of added to my disappointment that I didn't really care for this movie right off the bat, even though I was trying to give it a chance the entire time. Um, I haven't went back to watch Infested afterwards to see what happened, but I feel like he was trying to do some things with the camera and some technical um, splicing and things like that he was doing in editing that I felt like I'm not sure what he was doing. It didn't feel like Evil Dead to me at all. And this one didn't work for me, but I have confidence in him as a director and everything else. His other movie that he's done, Infested. So
And Spear, did you watch Infested? Or what are your thoughts on Sebastian as a director?
I did not watch Infested. I only watched Infested after I saw the movie because I was interested in seeing why they choose him. I did like some of the technical aspects with the camera. Some of it kind of felt like I was watching the raid, and you know what sequence I'm talking about in that car, the shaky cam, and it had a Garth Evans vibe. Then he did an over the top shot that I really thought that was interesting. He had some interesting ideas. It's just the script is what messed him up. And I think that I don't know if he wrote it or he just they just had it written and he was just directing, but he had some great ideas from a directing standpoint that I liked that brought something nuances to the Evil Dead franchise. But it's the script. I watched Infested. I liked Infested. I was like, okay, this you let him loose on something that's maybe more of his wheelhouse or like original IP, he probably could really do well. But it's just more so the script with the Evil Dead. It's more so the script than some of the acting, but we'll get into that.
I would say I thought Sebastian had some creativity. I think personally with what he was trying to do was some of the camera angles. He was really trying to shake it up. Of course, he still had to have some of those like iconic Evil Dead shots. We had that camera kind of like gliding through the forest and gliding through whatever, trying to be like the demonic entity or whatever. Those are just iconic Evil Dead things. But I think he was trying to do something different. And I've seen in interviews that a lot of people just told him to trust his gut. And so he was basically able to do almost anything he wanted to do. Even though I did think they had to cut a scene a little bit or they would get a higher rating than R, but it needed to be R so that it can be, I guess, more profitable, honestly.
Yeah.
A higher rating than R, then you're going to be a lot less profitable. But what, Spear, do you think that this felt like an Evil Dead movie?
Not really. Kind of, sort of. I mean, they did some callbacks in it, which I was kind of hoping they wouldn't do that. But it felt like it did. If it wasn't for the Deadites and some of the stuff that they pulled from like the original stuff, like that's all the chainsaw in there. They made a few reference in there. It didn't. It wouldn't have been. It would be a completely different movie. But now it didn't feel like an Evil Dead movie. It's like a movie that took inspiration from Evil Dead, but it felt like a whole different type of vibe.
And for you, Rusty, how did you feel like it was? Like a Evil
Yeah.
Dead movie?
No, and I kind of had a little bit of the same feeling with Rise the first time that I watched it, but I ended up liking that movie after that's one that I almost watch more than any now. But this one, yeah, other than having the Deadites, and I think it was just again how the script was, the screenplay, something was just off, and I'm okay without it not having the campiness of the humor of the older movies, the original three, but or the TV series. But that didn't bother me as much as something about this just all the way from the beginning. It just felt like a low budget horror movie that was spliced together. On the point too, like on the camera angles, that's where I felt like even in the very beginning, like from the first scene to where it seemed like a rip off of Rise to the club scene, the way it was put together, it felt like the tone was all over the place. And I did like the overhead camera angle that happened. I think in the first or second act, but it wasn't intentional. Like the I'll probably mispronounce it, but the Flippo brothers like Bring Her Back, where it was like building
Mm.
tension. It was just like he was throwing in things just to experiment, and it just didn't work for me. But there were some individual scenes that I did enjoy. One of them was like in the teaser trailer and things like that. So I respect what he was trying to do. It just the script and everything didn't come together for me.
And let's talk more about like some of the plot in the movie. Now, in the movie, we have a very it seemingly toxic ass relationship, honestly. The freaking Alice and her husband, yo, I was like we started off so strong with the toxicity. I know we'll go back to like the beginning and how it relates to Rice, but I really want to bring up just the general plot. So we have Alice. She loses her husband through events that we see in the beginning, and she basically ends up in a cabin with his family. Do you feel like this family unit worked in this cabin? Because to me, they all sucked. I felt like hardly anybody was redeemable. It was really hard for me to like anyone in this family except maybe the girlfriend. She was all right, but did the family unit work overall? I don't think so. I think this is one of the maybe some of the writing that you're discussing. This is probably one of the weaker parts of the movie for me. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about like the family unit in this movie as it's portrayed?
Uh, I mean, yeah, they was off completely. No chemistry, written badly. The only person that was interested was old boy from Wednesday. What's his name? The actor.
Oh, you
I
right. He's that creature guy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was the only one that I paid attention to the most. He he worked with what he had and he owned it and made it up. The rest of the actors outside the dad was pretty good, but his brother was weak as an actor. He didn't bring nothing to the
Hmm.
table. The girlfriend couldn't act to me. She wasn't that interesting. None of them was interesting. Like none of the characters, they always shitty people. Even the girlfriend, like you want to root for her, but everything felt forced. Like we're supposed to just feel something for her, and it just there was no. It just I just didn't feel connected to her at all. Like she barely spoke in the movie. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
true.
I didn't feel nothing for her at all. I don't know, Russell, what you got?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way, and I didn't get the why they sold this as a family because if you look back at Rise, I felt like that family, not only were the characters unique and actually interesting, and I cared for every single one of them for the main family unit. Like this one, I didn't care for any of them at all, and right from the club scene. As soon as they started talking, I was like, I hope that I was hoping they were just going to get killed off. I was hoping they weren't going to be the lead actors. So I didn't care for any of them at
That's what you
all.
said. Yeah.
And I did give
Yeah.
this
That
a
you were.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I did give this a chance after that, but I was pretty like as soon as the lead actress opened her mouth, I just was annoyed by her. But then she didn't really do much until the end, and then it was just kind of whiny whenever she did do it. And the brother was the same way, the younger brother. There just wasn't anybody here to care about. That was my biggest issue. I'm good with gory movies and that type of fun, but the characters were the worst thing other than the screenplay or script. So
All of them was like just written so like Blake. They just
Yeah.
always and all of them was shitty people. Like the younger brother was a shithead too. Like you leave your girlfriend in the car to get taken out. Like he had no backbone. Like all of them was pretty much like shitty people. Like none of them. Even the girlfriend though. Like she wasn't that interesting. Like it was nothing about her that made me just like, oh wow. Like I said, but she didn't have no dialogue. Nothing.
yeah,
So
agreed.
like what Rusty said earlier, it was all over the place. It was a hot mess.
The characters, I felt like they were just, yeah, they were kind of annoying. I wish I had liked them more or had liked anybody. I liked the girlfriend, I guess, the best. She was like the least problematic, I would suppose. That's not to say their performances I didn't like because, like you said, Spear, the brother who's played by Hunter Duhan, he's
Yeah.
good. His performance
Yeah,
is
he
excellent
was he was good.
as a sucky boyfriend that lets his girlfriend get basically killed by the dad in the car. Okay, honestly, I like that sequence, but he sucked as a boyfriend. I really wanted to strangle him. And then we had his performance was good. The dad had a good performance, even though the feel of the deadite of the dad, it was, yeah, it was a little bit more zombie than Deadite, and Deadite is a clear distinction between Deadite and zombie. Like I think we've had this discussion. There's like hierarchy of zombies. Deadite is not, I don't think, part of that hierarchy of zombies. It felt a little bit too zombie for me. Performances were great. Characters themselves, the only likable one I think is that girlfriend because I wanted to like Alice a lot because I understand what she is trying to go through. She's getting out of this really toxic relationship with her ex-husband. He's terrible, and then she's trying to deal with his crappy family the whole time. Like, how are you going to feel with that? But they just didn't write enough redeemable lines for her, and it was just not enough. Unfortunately, she just seemed like a kind of a vapid, empty character. Unfortunately, they
Also,
really could have had done more better with her.
I tried to look at the actress and see what she been in. And there's some other stuff, but she just wasn't a
Climax
strong.
2018.
Okay, yeah, she just wasn't a strong lead like the last on Evil Dead Rise, or even like the girl from Evil Dead, the remake. Like both of those
Mm.
strong lead performances. She just there's nothing gonna be memorable about her. And I don't know. Like there's another thing. I don't know what they're building up to. It seems like this finna all of them are finna get tied together in some form or fashion and go against the Deadites or something like that from some type of big climate. But we'll get to that though.
Yeah, but we will discuss that. I would say she is memorable because her hair was freaking terrible. She had like these roots. She had bleached hair that was pink, and I like that. I think that's cute. But her roots before even her husband was killed in that car accident, so long and terrible. I will never forget such terrible hair, honestly. Memorable to me. But if we had an
Um,
Evil Dead Rise though, our main character, uh she was dyeing her hair in the beginning of that movie. So it almost seems the opposite in this movie. Alice hasn't dyed her hair in like for like 8 months. Like the growth she has is a lot. So that's just some hair trivia for you if anyone ever asked, but yeah. All right,
oh
so let's get
wow.
a little bit into a deeper discussion about Evil Dead Burn. All right, so now let's talk from the beginning. I know I already kind of skipped with the family unit, but let's talk from the very beginning. So I think a lot of us have recently reseen the newer movies, at least. Rusty, you saw Evil Dead Rise, and then you did Two Spear. So at the end of
Yep.
Evil Dead Rise, we have all that stuff that happens in that apartment complex, and that girl, is it Jessica? She's leaving to go to the lake, which is the lake at the beginning of Evil Dead Burn. And we saw in the beginning of Evil Dead Rise that she becomes infected with, or she becomes a Deadite, and then also rips the scalp off Rachel. And then we see now in Evil Dead Burn, the guys who are fishing take the head out. That's Rachel, no hair. And also the girl coming out with kind of like that whitish dress. That's Jessica from Evil Dead Rise. So these events directly take place after, I guess, sometime of Evil Dead Rise. So there is a connection there. And I think if you haven't recently watched Evil Dead Rise, you might forget all that. Because I was like, whose head is that? And what is that girl? And what is that
Yeah.
girl? And how is she
Right.
related? But after I saw Evil Dead Rise again, shortly after I saw Evil Dead Burn, I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. This makes a lot of sense. So it does directly relate to that. There is that. So we have all that, and they basically get awoken because, which I thought this was kind of done. Tell me if this is a plot hole or not. We have the brother, played by Hunter Doohan Joseph. He finds the dagger of his grandpa, the Kandarian dagger, and he just finds it there. And he just opens a plastic bag, and now all the Deadites are awakened. So you're telling me the plastic was the only thing between the dagger communicating with the Deadites? Like, couldn't he? I feel like they should have put it in a box. I feel like that's like a plot thing that they didn't think about. Like, it was just in the bag, like in the bottom of like a banister thing in your house. Like, how is that protecting it against like Deadite? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's just a plastic bag. It had nothing protecting it to be like they can't sense it,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know. I found
Well,
I found that very annoying. I noticed that right away. I
well,
was like,
think
okay,
about
come on now.
think about where Jessica. I think it's Jessica, the one that was floating, that just walked up and then ran into the brother that just happened to be the family member. Like none of that made sense whatsoever. I felt like I don't know. I don't know who wrote that, but it was terrible. Like it could
She
have
was
been any
walking
other
like
thing.
20 miles and then somehow she just landed right in front so they can also see into the future now. Like they're going to know that that's the brother of Joseph who has the Kandarian dagger.
But
It's too much.
the way it was edited, it looked like she just walked up from the lake up a hill and he was there. That's what it looked like.
Right, like she just sensed him coming or whatever. Like she just knew he was coming down the road. I was like, okay, how did you know he was coming? What did you sense him? Like it would have been better if she walked all the way to the house. Or
Yes,
yeah, like she sensed
like the
the book
cabin.
or the
Or the
yeah,
family just go to a cabin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
it could just been like that.
that would have made more sense to me because she was just walking. We see her walking daytime. It cuts to nighttime. So if she walks nonstop, if you walk nonstop for one day, how far are you walking? 30 miles. She wasn't running, she was walking. 40 miles. So 40 miles from that lake house to that road, she somehow ended up in front of the brother's car. I guess. Yo, that's a
I
faith.
guess,
That's
man.
a belief.
No, but
Like that's a leap of faith. I can't believe that. It
I
just
mean,
makes no sense.
does she go through towns, stuff like that? Nobody's gonna notice like a bitch floating through town. I don't know.
She's like walking like you would have noticed that. Somebody would know. Anyways, so the brother crashes into her after he has this really toxic argument with the wife Alice, the brother Will, who is played by George Puller. I don't know what he's in, but he's kind of got like that I'm a pretty boy bad guy kind of a vibe in the movie, and I think in other roles he kind of has that. He dies. He burns. Evil Dead burn. That sequence when he burns, I don't know, it was pretty sweet. I like the burning, and I feel like some of that was real fire also. So I can respect real fire. Where at the end of the movie, all fake fire, and I really hated that. So I think some of that was real fire. I didn't mind it. Evil Dead Rise opening title card was much better with Jessica floating and it comes out from the woods. Excellent. This one was all right. I would say it was all right.
I That's what I'm saying. Like there, it's just there's a lot of inconsistencies in this movie. So much. But then it's like you make it look past that if you had likable characters that you can really follow
Yeah.
and really root for. Yes, they brought it back into the woods. Some people, I had a conversation with someone saying they didn't like Rise because it was at the apartment. I said, actually, I thought that was a great idea that they did that at the apartment. I think that's new, that's fresh, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool, but to go back into the woods and to this old house and I was just like, cool, but there just a lot of inconsistencies in it, and then just the characters, just the characters writing and the acting in it. So
We did have
no, there
a
was some
kind of
interesting
like a
kills though.
yeah, we had some semblance of cabins in Evil Dead Rise at the beginning and at the end. But yes, it was 98%, 99% in the apartment complex. And like you, Spear, I also thought, I like the cabin aspect, but rewatching it, I was like, I don't mind the apartment complex aspect of it because it still has a lot of Evil Dead tropes that it was able to execute in the apartment complex. So
Yeah,
I agree with
Also,
and
that.
too, you got more characters, you got more things to elements around instead of just this cabin that's just open out in the open. You have this apartment that's full of people from top to bottom. This old apartment, and just anything can happen. You can go anywhere. It's just more dynamic. It was just different. And it's almost like a video game if you think about it. Like you gotta try to get down to the bottom floor, to the garage and try to get through all the deadites and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah,
Yeah,
it was cool. I liked it.
kind of like a video game. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Rusty.
oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, it was like Demons too, and other '80s movies. But as far
Yeah.
as Rise, but it was excellent, and they didn't have to do another cabin in this movie, but they didn't connect it very well. I guess I had higher expectations on how the end of Rise was to what this picked up to, and it just seemed like it was redundant. Wasn't very
So I got a
creative, in my
quick
opinion.
I got a question for you both y'all. Do y'all think the distance from Rise came out what 2021?
Rise came out in 2023.
2023? It's
The
been almost
bigger
two
the bigger
years.
jump is Evil Dead 2013 and then 10 years later it's Rise. So that's the bigger jump.
Yeah, so that's a huge jump. And there's so much time. And it seemed like they're building up to something. But see, you could have said something so that way people can anticipate it. And when you came out with this film, there was no real like, oh my God, like I'm ready to see this Evil Dead movie. There was nothing. You know what I'm saying? No anticipate. Like they just put it out there like, hey, it's the Evil Dead movie here. Check it out. If you had told people in advance, like we're building up to something, you know, Warner Brothers could have put that out there and said we're building up to something, and that way people could be invested. You get the fan theories. You go on Reddit, people got their theories like, oh, they're building up to something. You know what I'm saying? So, man,
Yeah.
this is
You
me.
know, I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. I
You don't think
honestly
so?
Well,
don't think so. It
I
doesn't
mean,
seem like it because, or maybe it is now because we'll talk about later. There is another movie planned that is like a prequel before even the first movie,
There's a post credit scene in this movie
and there's a
too.
post
That's
credit scene. There's a post credit
so
scene,
that's
but
why I said that it seemed like they're building up to something, but they're not telling us.
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think we're going to talk about it later, like Mel said, but because I had somebody on my TikTok video like say that there was this big story because I had mentioned there wasn't much of a plot, but they said there was a plot. There's a story like connecting to Ash Williams, and I know we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But it's like made up fan theories right now. I think there's some
hmm
references in that movie, but in Wrath is going to be like what 1972 or something. So I know we're going to get to that here in a little bit, but that doesn't make just because you're making up things, it doesn't. You shouldn't. The movie should be standalone. You shouldn't have to make up shit for it to be a good movie.
That's
Yeah.
true. So, Spear, you had mentioned there were some good kills. Let's discuss some of our best or the kills that we liked the most and the kills that we liked the least. Kills that I liked the least. Well, it wasn't it. It was a kill. The dog at the dinner table.
None of
Very
us like the dog.
unnecessary.
None of us like the dog
Yo.
scene.
Oh, that was terrible. Unnecessary too. It like really didn't. It didn't. The dog really wasn't that prevalent. We just. I watched the movie very carefully because I knew the scene was coming up. We didn't really see the dog. We only really heard the dog. Just heard the dog. We didn't see a lot of the dog, and then all of a sudden, pa 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 pa. Okay, come on. Leave it. Leave the dog alone. Not good.
I think it would have been worse with the dog because like if I'd have to go watch it again, which I probably won't ever. But the dog just kind of showed up at the table, and I think it would have been worse if it would have been like well, I want to talk about the Odyssey, but if there were other dogs with like actual like caring and someone was loving on it, it would have been worse for sure. But it just wasn't needed. Other than it's kind of one of my complaints on this movie is just like shock factor, just to be to be shocking. It's the same thing with the camera that he's all that stuff that he's doing. It's just like I'm artsy, so look at me, I'm special. It doesn't work for me. But same thing with the dog. Didn't need to be there. Didn't add anything other than shock value.
Yeah,
It could have
the dog
it
was
could have been
a
worse.
yeah, it could have been a lot worse, but the dog
hmm
scene, they took it easy. They did went hard on the dog, but they took it easy on the elder lady. That was
Okay.
we'll get to that though.
I have some opinions about that. But okay, so if we agree that's the worst kill, that's like the kill that is the least pleasant, I would say for me. What would be like the best kill in the movie? I liked honestly the opening sequence with the guys fishing. I thought that was when I was watching it and those fish hooks were on the guy, I was like, "Oh man, no, that would suck. Like imagine being fish hooked in the face. That sucks." So, I would say maybe the opening sequence had maybe the most entertaining kills for me because I was like, "Ugh, that sucks. I wouldn't want to be fish hooked like that guy or eaten."
Uh for me, it was the car, the girlfriend. I think
Mm,
she's that was like probably that's probably the most interesting scene because like the dad was just so aggressive and he stayed that way throughout the whole movie. Like he just kept his foot on the gas on everybody. And he was probably like the more aggressive Deadite in the film. And that car scene just showed how aggressive he was. And yeah, he just that whole scene of them just torturing her and just ripping her to shreds. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it was probably the best for me. I did get a kick out of the chimney scene as well, but that's kind of where the CGI started going downhill as well too. But those two sequences were probably the best kill sequences, I think.
I did like the car one too. I mean, I liked also the car burn one too, but I do like to see stuff on fire. So may- we could have had used more real fire and stuff on fire in this movie, Evil Dead Burn. I will say that because I love stuff on fire. I love it, especially real fire. I'm a sucker for real fire. Fire suit, real fire. We don't get a ton of that. We do get it in the beginning a little bit, and then later it's all CGI, which sucks. But okay, so best and worst kills. What do you think about some of the lore that they brought up in this movie? So we already had stuff about Kandarian stuff in other previous movies, but here it is like we actually have it. It's not just talked about. And then they're also talking about the cult of the wise men, which is brought up in Army of Darkness. I mean, like I felt like it was all right. They didn't really tell us too much. It was all right.
Um, some of the lore I liked, but it seemed like they were adding in a lot more because I don't remember the dagger. There was a dagger in Evil Dead 2, but it wasn't like that small. It was like really big. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just to me, it just feels like they were just forcing nostalgia in there. And if you try to be a standalone, you don't have to play off the old movies. You can just be your own thing. Which they tried to, but he still had to make a reference to a couple things in there. So I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah,
wanted more.
yeah. On the cult of the wise men, I don't think it did anything that Rise wasn't building up to, and then the dagger. That's actually the plot of the movie, right? I mean, if you think about it, it's like the whole pursuit from the Deadites to getting the dagger, but to some extent, when they get around the dagger, they don't give a shit about the dagger anymore. So it doesn't make sense anymore. Not that there's a little bit of a battle to get to it, but it's like there's a large portion of the movie where that doesn't even factor in at all. But that is basically, and I know it's sold as the family, but it's really about the dagger to get that dagger. And again, it's not really important um, in some ways. So and not
Yeah.
much, not very deep, not deep theme to it or any meaning at all.
Yeah, not really. I did see, so it wasn't with Sebastian, this newest director. It was the director of Evil Dead Rise, Lee Cronin. So when that movie was coming out, he said he had spoke with Sam Raimi, who created all this lore originally in the 80s or whatever. And he basically said that the Necronomicon, but in all the movie, or the Necronomicon is kind of like there's many versions of it. So the version that we have in this movie, Evil Dead Burn, is directly the one from Army of Darkness. And there's many versions of the Necronomicon, kind of like there's many versions of the Bible that they have been rewritten or translated. And so this one has maybe a little bit extra fun things that maybe the other ones didn't have. And so that's why there's different things that maybe could be going on in the post-credit scenes because of this book is the theory. Okay. But the book is from the Army of Darkness. I just rewatched this. Spear, I think you just rewatched it. Rusty, I think you saw it too recently. There's a lot of those books. When he goes
It's
down,
three.
when
It's
he's trying to
three.
get the book. Yeah,
It's three of them.
exactly. So this is one of them. And then in
Yeah.
Rise, we had that other one that was like with the teeth, the chompy teeth. That one is a different
Yeah.
one. That's not the same one as Burn. So there is different versions of the book, and they all can do a little bit something extra special, different than the other ones. Is what the lore is trying to do. Now, is that really easily explained in the movie? I would say not. Unless I watch the
No.
interviews with these directors talking about it, I would have literally no idea. I would not be able to tell. I could only tell that it's not the same book as Rise, but I could not tell it's the
Not.
same book as Army of Darkness.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like there is something they building up to because it's three books, and
Mm-hmm.
they calling back to Army of Darkness. It's three books, and each movie touched on each book. Wrath gonna touch on the third book, whatever that book is, and they all say it has to be building up to something. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we're gonna get to the post credit scene, but it has to. Because what sense did it make for that post credit scene or the post credit scene that we had in Rise?
Or even the post-credit scene in Army of Darkness, or the alternate. Is that No, that's an alternate ending. I'm sorry,
That's the
but still.
alternate ending that they was trying to play with, and it
Mm-hmm.
just I guess it just didn't work. I still like I like both
Exactly.
endings, but the one where he's in the store, I like that one better.
Mm-hmm.
Hail to the king, baby.
That movie's fun. All right. So okay. So we have like we can discuss some more plot points in the movie. We have Alice that now she's with her crappy in-laws. Man, they suck. Oh, I feel for that girl. That family sucks. All of them suck. I want them all to be dead. I guess that's the only good thing about the movie because you want them to die and they do. I will say I have a major complaint, and this is something I look at immediately: the makeup of the grandma. As soon as I saw a nano glimpse of the grandma, I'm like, that's a old makeup look on a younger person. Of course, has to be because she does things that an older person can't do. I get it, but it looks so bad. It looks so incredibly bad. It was so noticeable to me. It takes me out of the movie immediately. Terrible, terrible makeup on the grandma. You're like, oh, she looks old. Okay, no, it looks like uh almost 90s level old person makeup. We have better old makeup people technology now. Okay, like what happened? I don't know, but terrible. She sucks too. Grandma racist as hell. She needs to go. Man, we should have had killed her better in that movie. I will say she
Yeah, I was
sucks.
saying they let her off a little easy. They didn't
I
like
know
just
that
slobbed on
racist
her
grandma.
too.
She needed to go.
They slobbed on her break fake teeth and gave it back to her, and she became a deadite after that.
Man, I would have had
They
taken those
showed
teeth.
mercy on her. Maybe
Yeah,
because of her being a racist, they liked it. Maybe they fed off on it, and they was just like, you know what, gonna take it easy on you. We gonna still turn you, but we ain't gonna do all that stuff with you. We just gonna take it easy on you.
so right, okay. Yeah. It was weird with the grandma why they didn't come at her hard. They should have come at her a little harder, I agree. So basically we have who was the first infected? Oh, the dad. The dad is the first infected from the son in the funeral scene, and all that thing could have had been eliminated from this movie. We didn't need it. Terrible. Absolutely. The whole movie was just to shit on Alice. Okay. Well, now we're in the cabin. The dad is a deadite. The dad stabs the dog. And is it weird that the dad, he kind of stays outside watching them in the house, kind of like a weird vampire trope? Like, why can't he get in? They need to let him inside? I don't know. This is like a plot thing to me because I'm
Yeah,
like, wouldn't you just go
that was
inside?
interesting. That was interesting too. I was wondering why he just don't come in. Like, what's
Yeah.
the problem with him coming inside? I didn't understand that neither. It never stopped none of them before coming inside. So
Right.
what was the problem?
To
And
make them,
Evil Dead 2013, they just, the girl was able to come inside and they just shoved her in the basement, right? Like, that's what they do.
that's what they should have
Yeah,
done, probably, and not made the movie 30 minutes longer.
right.
The movie did seem a little long at almost 2 hours. Was it hour 53 minutes? Is it?
Yeah, around an hour
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, around there. Yeah, it was. It for for what it's trying to be, for what it's lacking, it is too long because an hour 51 minutes. Yeah, too long. All right, so we have the dead. He's a deadite. Basically, they want the dagger because now they've been awoken by the dagger that was covered by the magical plastic that nobody could detect previously because of the magical plastic. Should have been in a case. I'm still gonna harp on that because it's ridiculous. I will agree. There's a lot of plot things. Maybe should have ran it by a couple more people to write it out. We have the dad. He's killing everybody. Kills the girlfriend. I don't know. That sequence was sweet when he got the head's backseat into her face. That is like, I feel like that is gonna be iconic now. Like, what a good way to kill someone, like with the thing like in the face. Excellent. I love it.
First of all, I wouldn't even been driving with him when they after he attacked the
Right.
dog. That was crazy for them to even have him in the
Yeah.
car
Oh,
and have him. I would have had him. I think they did have him handcuffed or something like that, didn't it?
no, I don't think so. He was just laying in the back like he was sick, like he was sickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would have handcuffed him, tied him up, and everything. That was crazy too. So that's why I
Yeah.
says it's a lot of stuff that just did not make sense
Just
in
call
this
the
movie.
police or something.
Yeah, it could have called the police or called someone to come, and he's having a mental breakdown. Like put him in a stretcher.
If you're having dinner and the someone you're with stabs a dog in the face with a fork repeatedly, you're just gonna let them loosey goosey in the backseat of your car while you drive like however far away that hospital is because they're in the middle of nowhere, at least an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So that
Mm-hmm.
was
Makes no sense.
stupid.
You're right.
It
You
made
know
no
what
sense at all.
She deserves
that
her death then. So dumb.
the family dinner, I didn't put this in my review, but it reminded me of Resident Evil 7 actually in a lot of ways when they were sitting at the
It
table.
did. Yeah, it did.
I've not heard anybody say
Uh,
that before, but it definitely did.
it did. I don't.
I don't remember which is that Resident Evil 7. I guess I don't remember that specific one.
It's the one where I went back to like person horror, but they had like it was almost like it was a mold that they had basically that made him undead. So it's this movie to
Mm.
me is very derivative of that,
Yeah.
which is it's not a bad thing, but
I would say also in okay, so we have some death scenes there. The dad is trying to get the dagger. The dad is turning people. What did you guys think of the most cringiest scene in the movie? The dad kissing the mom by the window. Yo, that went on for way too long. Okay, it should have been like 10 seconds max. That was like 2 minutes of just cringy, gross making out. Like, and I'm not even someone like, oh, they shouldn't be making out. No, it just went on too long. Just that's the most cringiest part of the movie to me.
The
I feel that.
cringes. I mean, there's a bunch of cringy moments. The the dad stuffing the son face into his girlfriend puddle face. That was like, what?
Mm.
and then the dad when he was outside like blasting his face with the gun didn't
Yeah, that
that
didn't
was
make any sense.
Well, the Deadites do like to do masochistic stuff in general. Now, the gun to the face 3 times, that is a bit much because we see in Evil Dead Rise, the girl gets the drone, she slices her face. They all like to like stab themselves a little bit. You know, they all like to have fun, kind of like a Hellraiser minions, right? Like the pain is pleasure. They like it. They want to do it. But the gun shooting, it didn't look that pleasurable. It seemed like maybe one shot would have been effective. Three is too much. It just went on too long.
well,
Maybe like two or so.
the good news they didn't shoot the dog after. I'm pretty sure they forgot that they did it, but in the shed, I'm pretty sure she cut its head off too. But they just like showed up with CGI that had its head back on. So I don't know. But the good thing is, yeah, they didn't torture the dog anymore and like shoot it. I guess, but
Yeah, it was a demon dog at that point after the dinner scene or whatever. So it was just a totally complete CGI dog at that point. It was fine. It was fine. I think
Hmm.
it was a real dog up until that point. So yeah, I would say as well in the movie, I had some really the movie did not have a lot of humor in it compared to the other Evil Deads. Especially, I
the,
would say the funniest one is Army of Darkness, right? That's the funniest one. That's the top funny.
Yeah.
This one did not have a lot of humor. French horror does not have a lot of humor, I will say. However, I found myself laughing at parts of the movie that were not funny, such as the scene where the brother is trying to get away. Oh no, I'm sorry, Alice is trying to get away, but the dad is fighting with the brother. That sequence, I did like it. It went on for a long time, and I just kept laughing at the dad throwing the brother like here and there and up there and down there. Like I just kept laughing at it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. How is this guy not dead? The brother, he's a human. I would be dead. Throw me two times, I'm dead.
I
I'm not
mean,
alive.
he was already injured when he fell back on the knives.
Yeah.
When he fell back on the
How is he
knives,
not dead? He should be dead. You get
he
thrown
shouldn't
around
even
that
be
much, you're
walking.
dead.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then puts his head through the door and he's like, "Get the dagger," and he's like walking around. It's like, bro, you would be dead. Facts. You were like thrown by your dad, who was like aggro strong right now. Like you, we'll suspend some disbelief as well here in that scene. All
I,
right.
You
I, I think the intentional humor was like Grandma Polly, but I heard a few snickers in my audience in the theater. I didn't think it was funny at all, but I think it was only humor. And again, I'm okay that it wasn't like the original, like with the humor. It's everything else that was a problem. But even their attempts at humor wasn't funny at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the
That's fair.
same. Like I don't, it don't have to have the humor in it. I like that it was a little different, but also if you're gonna do callbacks to the original one, the like for instance, none of them address like how and Ash became a Deadite. If folks don't remember that, he was a Deadite in the second film.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he managed to beat it. Don't know how,
Yeah.
but he managed to beat it. They don't showcase that in none of these movies. I would like them to kind
I
of
think it had
showcase something.
I think it had something to do with like the mirror and like reading a little bit. It was something like that. It was something
No, it was
uh,
the
it was
bracelet. It was the
a
bracelet
bracelet. Okay.
of his girlfriend. That's what kept him like fully coming to terms with it. And they don't. I mean, like if you're gonna do callbacks to dead. Show like one of the people that got possessed actually turned back. You know, if you're gonna do something like that, just do it like that. Like it is possible you can turn back. It is in the lore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it
That's
happened
fine.
with Mia in 2013. So
Yeah,
she,
well, yeah, it did happen with her. She did
she
turn
had to
back,
she
but
had to
he had to
die.
do. Yeah, she had to die and come
Mm,
back.
she was buried. She had to die and be buried, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah. And then she was able to come back after that she was buried.
But
Good point. Yeah, she did come back in 2013.
and it,
Nobody came back in Rise, I don't believe. They were
yeah,
all
No.
and I don't remember, but it's the same point that you guys mentioned on the books. Though they summon different demons, and like that in 2013 was a different demon as well too. But that may have something to do with when somebody's infected too. I'm not sure. I haven't read into that lore other than it's summoning different demons.
I've only seen just like what the directors and stuff talk about it. I haven't gone the extra mile though, like what their interpretation of what like the lore is supposed to be. But I'm sure someone has compiled on YouTube. I bet like all the lore all together and stuff like that. So yeah, so we had the dad infecting everyone, making out with the mom, disgusting. We had some other scenes. We had Alice was basically our main character but also our final girl as well. So
Hmm.
Alice as a character pretty weak, generally kind of weak. And then her as a final girl, it seemed like she was able to get like a really good weapon, that weed whacker, and just did like nothing like nothing with it. Like the grandma overpowered her immediately. I was like, are you kidding me? You have the upper hand here. Like she was at the top of the stairs and also had the weapon overpowered immediately by the grandma. However, I will say there was a cool shot with the mirror. You thought you were watching the screen, but it was the mirror. I did like that. I thought that was kind of cool. There's always stuff with mirrors in this Evil Dead franchise, so I do like a good mirror shot like that. But she wasn't final girling that much at this point. She's trying to though.
Uh, yeah, and not to mention like the mother, the mother attacking her in the bathroom and sticking that pin in her ear.
Yo,
She, yeah,
that was that I felt that. I felt that in my ear. Like I felt like that mother was stabbing my ear with
It was
that
hard to
pen.
watch.
That was
yeah.
a lot. That was a lot. That was one of the scenes I was like, "Oh, I really feel that."
It
Nobody
was
wants to
like
get stabbed in the ear.
no, but I mean, it was like in Rise with the tattoo gun and like the eyeball and stuff. That was like how close it came. It was hard to watch, but yeah, this one went right into her earlobe
I
or
said that
into her eardrum.
ear gore is more gorier than eye gore. Maybe I'm desensitized to eye gore, but ear gore, no. Stab me in the eye compared to the ear will suck because the eye doesn't
It,
have,
it, yeah, it
the
was
eye
just
doesn't have the nerves. It's gross though. It's gross. It's all gross.
it was just harder to watch because that's like a whole sequence where she just wasn't fighting back, like 10 opportunities and didn't really fight back. So
I know.
Mm-mm.
You would think your adrenaline would kick up during this time, but I guess you're just
uh,
kind of chill.
if I'm
She
ever in that
just
situation, if I'm ever in
no,
that
go ahead.
situation, I'm burning every motherfucker in that building right off the bat, like not messing around.
She just, yeah, that's why I said that she just wasn't like a strong final girl, like just overall, like. But maybe I thought too, maybe that was intentional because she just kind of got thrown into it, and but every woman that got thrown into this whole world, they eventually figure out a way to fight back and
Mhm.
to like get back at it, and they end up on the good end of everything. So I don't know,
That's true.
man. So
Yeah, the sister in
mm,
Evil Dead Rise, she had to sacrifice the sister with the children in that amalgamation of family unit. She was able to save the daughter, and they were able to escape. In this one, only Alice escaped. At the end is the final girl. Well, I mean the grandma. at the end. But everyone else basically perished. They all kind of sucked though. It kind of sucks
Yeah.
because in Evil Dead Rise, the one right before, even though it's a different director, different, pretty much different everybody, you did kind of like some of those characters at least. I liked the mom; she was
You
chill.
like the
I liked the
mom and
kids;
the
they were not
kids.
bad. They were not
You
bad.
felt for all of them because
Yeah,
like, damn, they really didn't deserve none of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you felt bad for like everybody in Rise, but in
yeah.
this movie, you don't feel bad for none of these characters at all.
You kind of really hate them all. They all suck. Even the mom in Rise, I would say that I'm like, man, you're kind of a little bit of a bitch to her sisters. Like, you're a groupie. I'm telling everyone you're a groupie. It's like, she's a guitar tech, okay? That's a real job. But whatever. That's some sister shit right there. Whatever. But yeah, no, nobody deserved it in Rise, but everybody deserved it in Burn. They needed to go. They suck
Yeah.
so bad.
I think the mother's name is Ellie, and then the sister that survived is Beth, maybe.
Yes, in Rise. And let's go ahead and discuss maybe some more Final Girl antics by Alice. So, as Alice, as the final girl, she did have her weed whacker. She was not that effective, like I said. That grandma overpowered her immediately. She did also have that fight sequence with her mom getting stabbed in the ear. That did suck entirely. Now, when she has the dagger, she finds the dagger with the help of the brother, who is basically being murdered by the dad through the floor of the attic or whatever. She finds the dagger, and what does she do? Immediately loses it. Like, as soon as she gets out, she jumps out the roof, falls to the ground. Do you think that she would have been able to overpower that dad in that attic with that dagger, knowing that it
Nah,
works?
the dad was on 10. He was like one of the strongest Deadites I seen. He was
That's
already
right.
like built. He was already built when you seen him. Like he had a extremely tight shirt on. He was muscular. I was like, dude was jacked.
Dude
Like
works
so
out.
yeah, so him being a Deadite, he was in probably in better shape than everybody in the movie. But
Or maybe
he
any other Deadite other than
yeah,
Bruce Campbell.
he was like on another level. So yeah,
Yeah.
he was not playing. The Deadite that possessed him, like, oh, I like this guy's body. So yeah,
Yeah. Maybe a little pervy creepy with that, right? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
I'm
that
telling.
that dad did work out a lot. He worked out a lot. Pretty strong. Well, Alice loses the dagger. She jumps out the roof of the attic. She loses that dagger immediately as soon as she gets it, and I think she kills the mom with it. I already forgot. She kills the mom with it. But the
Nah,
dad is no,
she
she didn't kill.
kills the brother because he got possessed. She
Oh, you're
killed the
right.
hunter kid, yeah, because he got
Yes,
possessed, and when
yes.
she stabbed him, then he got back to his original form, and
But
then
he was
that was
already
it.
stabbed and he was already injured so much that he died.
Yeah, he was done.
Yeah, he died immediately. Like, yeah, he was gonna die. So, right, she jumps off the roof, and then we have this terrible CGI, we'll say, of all these deadites on the roof. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like
I hated
Like
that.
velociraptors or something.
spiders. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like spiders. Terrible.
I'm
Not
gonna
good
say
at all.
velociraptors.
Velociraptors.
Yeah, I'm just
Anyone here seen a Velocipaster? That's on my watch list. Velocipaster. A Velociraptor
that's
pastor. That's a
oh
terrible movie. I'm gonna
wow.
watch.
I've got
That's a
what's
real
the dad
movie.
what's the dad's name? Is it Edgar? Going back to that, like when you said that and described him like being ripped, it reminds me now of like a Irish or
Edgar.
Scottish like Willie off of The Simpsons. Like, if you've ever seen him like rip his shirt off or whatever, that's him right there. I'm
Yeah,
Oh,
never gonna
he's
unsee
got
that.
that vibe. He's from New Zealand. Like, he's a New
Okay.
Zealand actor. They're filming all these new movies, by the way, in New Zealand. However, I do think that they are in Northern California because of Rise. Rise is the apartment complex in LA, and then the girl has to drive over to the lake house, which is a couple hours away. We're in Northern California. This is where we are, but we're really filming in New Zealand. This guy's a New Zealand actor, and he works out a lot.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't fight him, I guess, in a bar, especially not as a deadite. So
right.
yeah, I guess what is the ending sequence? She burns the place down. Is that it? I feel like I already forgot. She burns the place
She
down. Evil Dead burn, burning again. So many burns. Burn the car. Burn the brother in the crematorium. Actually, no, just kidding. He's not dead. He appears here as a CGI final monster boss. Excellent. just like a video game.
How did he
And
get to the
basically,
house?
I
Yeah,
think he
how did
walked
he, and
there.
where was he at this whole time?
He was walking. It was far.
And no one said nothing. No one noticed.
He wasn't as fast as Jessica then, from the lake to the street.
No, he was slower than Jessica. He didn't have all the meaty parts. He was just like a skeleton. Okay, he doesn't have all the joints. He doesn't have all the. He doesn't have all the tendons and muscles. Only bones. Okay, and something of a face. Walked very slowly all the way. How many days were we at this cabin? Maybe two. Did they even sleep there? It was one day. Damn, everything went to shit in one day. Terrible. Can't even chill in the shitty cabin. By the way, that cabin, that is one of the grossest cabins I've ever seen. Even the cabin in Evil Dead 1981 is a much better cabin than this one. This one was way more decrepit.
Well, it was a house. It was a house that was just in the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah.
the brother, I think the brother was standing there and he was just letting it go to shit. Cause
Mm-hmm.
dad said something
The
like, "Yo,
younger
you need to
brother.
take." Yeah, he was just standing there, but he wasn't taking care of it. And it was just kind of rotten.
That actor, he's pretty good, but man, they did his character such a disservice. Let his girlfriend die, didn't take care of the house. Just crappy in general. The only kind of good thing that he did was help Alice get the dagger. Didn't end up helping anybody at the end, honestly. So, right, her husband that died in the car and was not uh cremated like he was supposed to, walked all the way, just slow skeleton walk. Ended up in the middle of the fire of when she burnt the house down. Fuck this house. Fuck this family. Straight up. They suck.
He must have been in the basement or something.
He was taking a nap.
Yeah, he's in the
It was a
closet.
long walk.
Yeah.
Right.
He he took a nap. He was awoken from his nap. The fire is not going to kill him. Clearly, he is like he's a deadite skeleton. I guess maybe that's giving Army of Darkness vibe because we had a lot of the skeleton army, but he's not quite a full skeleton. Skeletal, I would say. And then Alice tries to escape. She runs as fast as she can to a construction site, basically where we get our last sequence fighting of events in the movie as she confronts her ex-husband Will with a not a chainsaw. We did see it though, with a pickaxe to the heart. And so we get, I guess, around full circle that the only way maybe for her to move on is to pickaxe her ex-husband in the heart. I don't know. I feel like the metaphor is lost here. It's like, is this supposed to be her overcoming her grief, or what is this? Like,
This movie was discussing toxic masculinity, but where did it come from? Where's the source of the toxic masculinity? Oh, the family wasn't shit. The dad clearly was abusing the mom,
yeah,
and they got passed on to him. So
yeah.
that was the movie, like how toxicity, where does it stem from? Like you got the toxic masculine man and how he treated his wife, like he didn't treat her like shit at all. And then you see his family, that's where he got it from. He got it from his dad. Clearly the mom wasn't happy. She basically said like she had a whole thing and then she stopped doing it because her mom got sick and she had to take care of the family. But clearly she didn't have a choice because the dad made her stop. So it just talks about toxic masculinity and where does it stem from? It stems from a bad family. And that's basically what they're saying. Like, where's the root of this toxic masculinity? Where did it come from? The Dead Ice was just a backdrop of this movie, but the movie's trying to talk about toxic masculinity and where does it stem from. That's the message of the movie.
So I
Poorly
I get
done.
the dad was like a little toxic before he was a deadite. Like we saw some of that. And we saw Will be some of that too. I just don't feel like it totally lands. It is that, but I don't feel like it totally lands. I feel like we could have had, if we had had Will maybe go to the house, to the cabin, if we would have seen more of that family dynamic like they were showing us in the trailer potentially, maybe would have seen that and felt that a little bit more. But they eliminated Will immediately. And then they turned the dad into the Deadite immediately. So I mean, okay, the dad is toxic, but now he's a deadite. He's got other things on his mind. It's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
that is it is what you're saying, but also it's not. They didn't show it enough for it to be like this is the
Look,
larger concept of this movie.
they had some
Unfortunately,
tacked on like flashbacks, but it didn't mean anything to me. That is a good point though, Spira. as far as that subplot, it just didn't mean anything. It felt like a trope to me too that they were just throwing in the flashbacks.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
throwing in trying to make you feel something for her, like you rooting for her, but it did, and none of it added up. It just kept like just going this and that, do this and that, and you see the family ain't shit, and then the dad clearly
Suck.
was probably abusive to the wife,
Yep.
but where did that stem from? The grandmother was racist,
As
and
hell.
she probably was terrible. You know what I'm saying? So all of them wasn't nothing. So all of them just had bad, toxic energy about them. And so you see where it stems from. Alice is just supposed to be this woman who's just caught in the middle of it, but she wasn't perfect neither. So it's just the movie did a poor job at trying to explain that situation.
Alice could have been in the middle of it, but Rusty, like you were saying, she's just unfortunately not that likable. And I do understand, like, she's trying to deal with this shitty family. She's trying to deal with showing the grief of a toxic ex husband, which she's not grieving that much.
She didn't
Also, I think
care.
she was. No, I don't think she cared because she wanted to get rid of him, probably, or she was gonna leave him. She really seemed like she had a plan to go back to France. She was like, she was
Yeah.
done with this. She also didn't want to really have a kid. They talked about like a kid situation, and he's like, "We're never gonna have a kid if you keep smoking cigarettes." It's like that's why she's smoking cigarettes, Will. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Do you guys
why
think
she doesn't want a
you
kid with
got?
you.
Yeah, sorry. Did you guys? Would you guys think that it would be better, like if you look at like a Ready or Not, where that character, that same thing, she's in a family that she's really not connected to. That they're some of them are kind of mean to her. Some some are good, but do you think that if Alice would have actually still been in love with him, and would that have been a stronger connection, even though like she was in that abusive relationship? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that would have
Yes.
worked. But then also too, like maybe it should have been her as the main character. I think it should have been old boy girlfriend, because I actually was like thinking that that may have been the one, because she was actually good. So it could have
Yeah.
they could have worked out too. So but yeah, I think her actually still being loved. Like she could have just talked about like, yeah, we have problems, but I still love him, and this, that, and the third, and you feel for her, and then you find out there's a lot of stuff going on between them two. But yeah, it did cause like a big rift that she didn't care about him dying. That she just showed up there and just whatever. So it was just, yeah, I couldn't connect with it.
Now, would you have gone? I guess it leads into the family dynamics. Why would she go to that cabin with the in-laws if they suck? Like
And
they
they don't like her neither.
suck and they don't
Yeah,
like
that's
her
true.
neither. Only the brother did. So would you go? I wouldn't. I'd be like, meet me in the city, yo. Like, why would I go to this decrepit cabin with this racist ass grandma, with this crappy family, which all of them hate me and treat me like shit? After I lost my husband, even if my husband was toxic and abusive,
Right.
I'm not gonna deal with this abuse anymore. Like I'm done.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
I'm go I'm going to France. Bye bye. Bye bye.
I
I'm sure I'm not a
I
U.S. citizen anyways, right? Like she's got her French passport. She's gone. You know,
I had
it
my
seemed
my
wild that she
thoughts
was going to
on
the cabin.
I have my thoughts on what the movie could have been like and could have been actually put out better, but overall, man, it's just poor writing, poor writing. It's not all the way the director's fault. The director did a really good job directing it. He had some great ideas, but it's just really the script. The script was just bad, and then it just had some really bad actors.
I feel like the movie had definitely a lot of promise, even though I still like the movie in general. Rusty, I don't know if I would rewatch it again. I guess if I was watching all three of the new ones again, I would rewatch it just to complete the trilogy. But if I were going to pick a movie to rewatch again, it might just be Evil Dead 2013 out of the new ones. So probably not this one. But I do think that in this movie, they had the budget, they had the sets, the grandma makeup was terrible. They did not, something about the writing, unfortunately. I know they're trying to have that deeper conversation with the concept of toxic masculinity, overcoming grief, starting anew, rebuilding, or whatever. It's like it's not there. It's just not there. It's it's maybe like 30% of the way there. They just didn't go all the way there. And I think if they had kept the husband alive, maybe going to the cabin or the house, it would have been better. Or maybe the husband something about it, the family unit just being together more as a whole, it just didn't seem like it was. Um, so it does fail at achieving its concept, overall concept. And then it kind of just turns into a flat movie, unfortunately. Because if you want to watch it just for kills and shock value, it doesn't totally deliver because we need something behind that. Now, the other Evil Dead movies from the 80s and stuff like that, there was not really that much plot. It's just straight Deadite kills, Deadite kill. So there doesn't have to be a lot of plot. We're just people go to a cabin and this is what happens. This movie is trying to inject more into themes and concepts. It just doesn't get there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and like I said, someone said to me, it's an Evil Dead movie. It shouldn't. It don't have to have like substance, but it did
True.
have substance in it though, and it didn't execute it well. So you could
Mm-hmm.
just took the substance out, and get right into it. It
Yup.
did have substance in it. You know what I mean? The other three original films, they didn't have no substance in it. It's just like man and woman go to a cabin, do read the book, stuff start happening. He got to battle this stuff, and then other people come in involved, and he has to fight through all that. And then he ends up becoming a superhero after that.
Oh
But
yeah,
the
Ash.
thing of
Yeah.
it, yeah, but the thing of it is, it's like, yeah, the original three didn't have substance, but these films are pushing ideals in there that's giving substance, but the execution has to be there if you're gonna bring in substance.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got to care about the characters. Otherwise, I mean, like you say in Spear, it's like, it's fine. And the other ones, like, yeah, maybe they don't have a lot of story or deeper themes, but we care about the characters. Everybody loves
Yeah.
Ash. It's probably why 2013 is a mix. I did like Mia and some of the characters, but as if you don't have the characters and you don't care about them, the gore means nothing at that point.
Right.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Ash is like the first original final man, which I'm making a video about. There's not enough final man around. We
You're
need more of
that's a
that.
good point. He is a final man for sure. There this these newer movies, it's final girls, final women. And mostly women characters, I would say, like a majority. Evil Dead 2013 does have a mix men and women in the cabin, but then Evil Dead Rise it's a lot more women in that with the
Yeah.
sister and the daughter and stuff. And then this Evil Dead Burn, I would say it's also kind of mixed as well. But they're all final girls for sure. And
Nothing
so
wrong with that, but we need some final man. I wait till y'all see my video. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Ash is a good Eve final man when in Army of Darkness, he's got some like really iconic lines. He's just like so kitschy. He's just so like iconic. Like there's not another character like Evil Dead Ash that has been like so popular. He's like very iconic. People know who that is if you just show Bruce Campbell wearing that outfit. They know.
Yeah, but he is like he's the ultimate final man. Like there's no character in horror history that's like him at all. Period. Like there's nobody quite like Ash, other than maybe Andy Barkley, who go against Chucky all the time. But
Oh,
there's no other person like Ash in any horror genre. None.
And I don't know that they should try to reproduce it, moving forward. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen after Wrath, or maybe they try to do that with if they back in '72, like with this I forget his name now, but the family member that was involved in this one. I'm assuming it's going to connect to that, but hopefully they don't try to reproduce it. I don't know that they could ever do that, but we'll see.
so the last scene as well, I'm gonna say of Evil Dead Burn because we were talking about like the themes and the concepts. Alice is finally able to overcome the toxic masculinity of her life, which is her husband who comes back walking from the crematorium after a day of walking. But she pickaxes him to the heart, right? She didn't pick the chainsaw, which is what Ash would pick for sure. And there's like a huge CGI sequence with that. She uses the dagger as well. We have this shot too. I'm unsure if I love it or not that she kind of like squashes his face and his face does seem more like the original husband's face and not this kind of like burnt up skeleton face. And she's kind of just like, I'm removing this toxicity from my life, like so viscerally by like squishing the face. And that's pretty much how this movie before the end credits like pretty much ends with this kind of like final boss situation. I felt like maybe it's too much CGI. Maybe it's a bit too much CGI. More burning, more fire, less CGI.
Practical is always better, in my opinion.
I
Yeah,
feel like he
always,
didn't have to
always.
be. I feel like they could have had just changed this movie up a little bit. Should have had the husband still alive while they go to this cabin to do whatever thing. And then he could have just been in his makeup like the dad. I think it would have been more effective instead of this CGI skeleton monster. Look, honest, it's not that the CGI was like absolutely terrible. It just a lot of the even in Army of Darkness, those are practical effects. You know, even that looks a little bit better. That's a more comedy, of course. I understand, but let's have more practical effects instead of a CGI video game monster boss fight with your ex-husband. Like, come on, that just sounds it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so that's how the
Yeah,
movie ends. She is able to overcome her trauma. I guess she goes back to France. She goes with the dagger. She's fuck the states, fuck the in-laws. This family
but
sucks.
I got a feeling she gonna be back. I'm telling you, I think all this is gonna lead up to like all the women that survive all three of these movies are gonna like lead up to it's gonna lead up to something like somehow it's gonna tie in maybe with but Wrath is like what going back into the past though, right? It's a prequel,
Yes,
right?
we could discuss Wrath a little bit. So far we know about Wrath, which is confirmed, set to come out April 7th, 2028. It is written and directed by Francis Jalupi, who did The Last Stop in Yuma County. I did not see that movie. And it is set entirely in 1972, making it the first movie in the Evil Dead franchise chronologically. The first Evil Dead movie is in 1981. So I don't know. I feel you. Like, how are these women going to like come together to be final girls, all of them? But I don't think in this movie. This is we're going back in time on this. We're not.
I don't know.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
just I don't know, but we gotta since we discussing that, let's talk about the post credit scenes. Or you
Yes,
want to talk about like the yeah, because we covered the ending, right? And she
yes, that's
survived.
the
She's
end.
gone back to France, whatever. And then, but let's talk about the two post credit scenes.
So we had is the post credit scene the first one with the grandma? Yeah, right.
Yep.
The first credits post credit scene, that grandma did survive the house being burnt down to the ground. She is kind of like if you remember The Walking Dead, the first real zombie that Rick Grimes sees is like half gone. She's only got the torso, and somebody is picking her up in a car. So it seems like this Deadite demon transfer is going to be happening maybe a lot quicker because we're getting into a brand new person in a car and we're heading off. Maybe I don't know where we're going, but let's pretend I don't know where we're going. But that's the first end credit scene. So that grandma does survive.
Yeah, and it
She's
was
alive.
it was telegraphed because and the director had a habit like where we were talking about the pin earlier that went in the ear, like he kind of paused on it. So he paused. I don't know if you caught it, but the grandma's leg at the chair at the bottom of the staircase was just hanging there, and he paused on it during the movie. So it kind of telegraphed that that was coming, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Hmm.
and I was walking down when the credits started rolling. I was walking down. I was like, "Oh shit!" You know, they never did say what happened to the grandma, but then I just kept on walking. And so I didn't even look at it until afterwards. But I was just done with the movie at that point. But
And the
um,
grandma turns somebody randomly
yeah,
into a deadite.
Pretty much like a
surprise,
lady in a
surprise.
car that was trying to help her. So then we have the post credit scenes or mid credit scenes. The second credit scenes. We're back in the funeral home, which is also a crematorium, the one where they didn't crematorium the ex-husband. Some crap went down there. That scene was totally unnecessary, but we have the little girl of the woman that is basically the funeral director, and she's like, "Mommy, mommy." And she's like, "Don't touch anything." Oh, but she touches something all right. She touches an urn. And on that urn is the name of, is it Ellie Baxter? What's her last name? Ellie Baxter. Someone's going to correct me. And that is the woman, the mom from Evil Dead Rise in the apartment complex. And somehow she
Hmm.
touches it, and we see the mom, there's always a mirror thing with these Evil Deads. She's looking through the mirror and she's like, "Oh, hey, sweetie." Actually, I forgot what she said, but she said, we see her kind of looking kind of normally. The girl turns around and it's like, "Mommy's back." She does say that. I think that's her quote. And we just cut to the main credits. And that is the credit scene at the end of Evil Dead Burn. Uh I don't know how she's back, honestly. I don't know. And they say Wrath might explain it. What book and Wrath are they going to use? But it seems like they're changing up the rules of the Deadites. They can come back, and maybe there's no real way to kill them unless you use the dagger. I'm not sure.
Well, so my
I
question
am
is
unsure.
too, like, why was the girl with the funeral parlor? Like, what happened to the sister?
Oh, this she never picked up. She never picked up the urn. That's messed up. Ellie Bixler, thank you. Ellie Bixler, sorry, not Baxter. That was the name on the urn. But you're right. The sister, I think, would have picked up the urn because she realized that her sister was possessed. I mean, clearly, clearly was possessed. She was doing all sorts of freaky shit in the bathroom, climbing up the walls. That's not normal. They're clearly possessed. But
So
nobody had
yeah,
picked
like
up the
what?
urn.
That's why I said it may have to tie in because the way both the post credit scenes happen, you got to reference back to Evil Dead Rise. Like, what was the point of bringing? What was the point of bringing it back? There was none.
No,
Then it's just like if Raph's gonna be like the prequel, there was no point of them bringing her back.
no, and it's against the lore. It's. I don't know. I'm frustrated with it. They shouldn't have done it, in my opinion. Because the problem is that means that any Deadite that has been killed
Hmm.
by Ash or anybody could come back. Unless
Yeah,
they
Right.
explain it further, it's a problem.
Unless they use the dagger, is what the internet is saying. Unless they use the dagger,
And
and that's like how they're really, really dead. It's like, no, she was wood chipped in the apartment complex in that wood chipper thing. Come on now, she's not alive,
but
but she
I
came
think in
back.
that scene they did something controversial. It used to be years ago, like not to kill kids and things like that too. So it's just to me like another reason to do something else for shock factor on top of everything else.
the dog and the kid was my limit, and I was just like, yeah, yeah, this movie trash, bro.
It could
Oh,
have been
in
anybody
Rise,
else.
you're saying with the kid, like the kids being like part of the mom
No,
in Rise.
in that post credit scene,
Oh
she
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe she
Oh,
snaps the neck of a
she
The
totally
the
does
daughter.
yeah.
immediately without hesitation. By the way, too. So animals and children are not safe in Evil Dead Burn. Okay, no one is safe in this. Ah, yeah, the French got a thing that they don't mind. Rusty, you saw Climax 2018. There's a thing they don't care about no children's safety in these French horror movies. They do not care. That's
Yeah, I mean
like
if
that's almost part of it.
yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like it was just to
It
shock versus actual purpose. It could have
it
been
was
anybody
right.
else,
It was unnecessary.
adult or
I
Could
whatever.
have been a sister. It could have been a sister. I mean,
That's
sister could
true.
have just came there to get the urns, and then she rubbed it, and then she popped up there. So it could have been like that. But it was
Mm-hmm.
just pointless, bro. A pointless
It's a,
ending. I was just like,
it's a,
nah.
I'm
it's
not
like
sure
the
about
dog.
the this. Oh, go ahead. What the dog?
I was gonna say something stupid, but I was gonna say it's like the dog. It could have been a cat, right? So f them cats. Don't touch the dogs.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
touch the
Sorry.
dogs. But the I think with the ending scene, I haven't heard the director talk about it or anything, or if he left it there, because sometimes directors do this when they're part of a franchise that is like larger, and they have like a segment of it of the franchise, like a movie of the franchise or an episode of a franchise or whatever thing, that they leave something so that maybe the next director can like feed off of it. But we already know that Wrath is not after this. Wrath is 50 years before all of this. So I don't see how another director is going to pick this up. It will have to be like 2 movies from now. This could be a long time from now. We're going to forget all about this. No, not really, because this is crazy. I don't know how she's back, and I don't know how it relates.
None of us do.
It's bullshit.
No.
Yeah, it is. It's straight bullshit. So I like I said, there's it's just there's a lot of problem, and I'm tired of this color grading, this grayish,
Oh,
like grayish blue color grading we getting all the time in all these movies. I'm sick of this shit. Like, give us some different color grade. Everybody going in DaVinci Resolve using the same color grading.
Evil Dead Rise had more of like true color, maybe like amplified a little bit warm. Everything was like a little bit warm, but this one, yeah, was kind of like very gray toned.
Gray,
Very, very, very
bluish.
gray. Even in the club, it did seem like muted club colors, like
Well,
not full club colors.
that's where his like camera style changed though too, because in the club was also where like he spliced sometimes really fast, and then I didn't notice it in the back half of the movie that he ever did that, but it was almost like a rock music video, and he stopped doing it, and that's where it's like again gets to be all over the place. But I didn't notice the colors as much, but the house was definitely that way for sure.
I did feel like from the transition of the guys that were fishing, which I do like that sequence, to the booty shaking in the club, that transition was jarring as hell to me. I was like, what the fuck what are we doing right now? We should have had gone to something a bit more, I don't want to say calm, but something like it. We went straight to a club. We went straight to like death, murder in a lake, to booty shaking in the club. It was too much. It was too much of a that transition of what was going on. We weren't established yet. We just started here, so it was too much.
I still think they should have done the like frat house. I know I've said this before, but the frat house like dorm party where they have the book and just did that because that's the teaser trailer that is a cool sequence, but that's what it reminded me of. That there was some old frat house or something. So I just would have rather had that instead of this family shit that they did. But
The frat house actually is a great idea. Like doing something like that, like or a reunion party where they all come back to like a
Ooh.
class union reunion, and
A
somebody
class
got the book.
reunion would be fun, like in a lake house. That's exactly what would happen in real life, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
a like a row
that would
team,
have
like
been
a swim team, like a lake house.
yeah, something like that would have been better than this family dynamic and trying to talk about toxic masculinity and explore that. You could have explored that with the reunion or a frat party or whatever the case is. It could have been explored in a different way. And then it probably would have been more interesting too. So
yeah, because Rise kind of did that with the apartment complex, throwing a little bit of other people in there, but it's just like yeah, just have throwing a lot of people and just Deadites have their way with them and shit. It would have been good.
Right,
yeah,
in an apartment complex. That's what you were saying about demons too, similar in the apartment complex. I feel like yeah, apartment complex, like you were saying, Spear, kind of like a fresh idea. We did have a little bit of a cabin in Rise, but I don't mind the apartment complex. It doesn't really take me out of it because I guess at Rise, when I rewatched it recently, it still feels very much like this is the Evil Dead franchise. Yeah, Evil
yeah.
Dead Burn feels the least out of an Evil Dead franchise. I still like the movie, honestly. It's like a French horror movie. This is what it is. It's a French horror movie. Somebody said it in plain sight. They're giving it to you like, oh, this is Evil Dead, but really it's a French horror movie that they're trying to shove all these things into. Unfortunately, it just does not work. Now, if you took away the IP and did another thing, it might have totally worked. But they were trying to put too many things to make it fit this IP, and those are probably the elements that are the weakest in this, aside from the writing, which I do agree the characters, they all suck. I wish I liked them more. They do suck, though.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, my rating hasn't changed. The more I think about the movie, the more I dislike it even more now.
Yeah.
My
I
dad,
like the
my dad
movie.
called
Yeah.
my dad called me today and told me he watched it. He did a double feature.
Your
Normally we'll go to the
dad
movie.
watched it?
He don't want to put me on the movie. He don't want to put me on Evil Dead. He went to go watch it. He loved it, and I get why people like it. But he watched it. He did a double feature, and that's crazy that he did. I was like, you must got a lot of time on your hands, sir. You went to see
Uh,
Evil Dead, then you went to see the Odyssey. I was like, damn, that's
He was in the movie
a
theater for like
but
almost 6 hours then. Five and a half, 6 hours. Yeah. It's a long
I
time.
get I don't know where you got there where it came from, but I was like,
I,
yo, you went to see Dead and Odyssey, shit.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Rusty, you went with your friend to go see Evil Dead. What did they say about the movie? Because it's good to hear we're watching these movies for different things, and sometimes people just want to go and watch something grotesque. I mean that's just the reality of the situation. What did your friend think of the movie? Because
No, and he usually likes the like campy low budget too, and he didn't like it either. So, but I was gonna say also like I've not watched other people's like full reviews. I've not seen anybody though say I love these characters or this was a great story other than the shit that they make up from the lore about Ash Williams or whatever. And so, and in fairness, I haven't heard other people's reviews. I think, like Spears said, it's fine that they like him. I've never, I don't know outside of the gore why somebody would like this because, like, I'd almost say, like, it's not my opinion that this is a bad movie. Like, I can prove to you this is a bad movie because, like, we've talked about this entire time. Everything else other than the gore is pretty bad, other than some of the camera shots and angles, some of the directing. That's about it. So, again, I'm just curious if anybody, like, actually like these characters or anything like that, but I don't, I doubt it. I just don't think so.
my coworker, she told me right after she came out of the movie theater, she watches a lot of movies too. She's like, they all these characters just make really dumb decisions throughout the whole movie, and so that was the most frustrating thing to her. In Evil Dead Burn. And I agree. Why did they open the door to the girlfriend after the guy said, "My dad just killed her in the car"? Like, why would they open the door? Like, wouldn't you look through a window potentially instead of being like, "What is going on?" Like, repeat what you
That's what I'm
just said,
saying.
brother. Yeah, it was kind of dumb. I will agree. That was dumb.
I think people like this movie because it's one of those films where you got to turn your brain off and just remember what you're watching. And I think that's why a lot of people just did that. I couldn't turn my brain off watching this because it's a part of a franchise that I'm very fond of. Like if you're fond of Scream, you're not gonna turn your brain off and just say it's a Scream movie. You're gonna nitpick on every little thing. But some people are like just real diehard fan. They're gonna look over it and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we look past it. It's whatever."
We can't
But yeah,
we can't do that as movie critics though. I mean, and I know
now we
like what
can't.
I we've got to like be try to be objective. I mean, we're gonna have personal preference and bias. That's just gonna play for everybody. But I think all of us do it too. We for the critics, like you should at least try to. At least what I do is I don't just review for myself. Like I try to think of like if there's a genre that I'm not into, let's say like romance or something like that. Like I'll state that in a review, or I'll at least okay. Well, it's somebody that likes that romance genre like this. Same thing here. It's like I don't fault anybody for enjoying this movie. I wish I would have. I just don't want anybody. I mean, if you try to tell me that this is a good movie, there's just I've not heard a solid argument from anybody to say this is a good movie. But it's okay that you like it. I'm sure that I like some bad movies too, but this is just a bad movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because someone was criticizing me about my taste because I liked He Man, and I was like, well, I thought He Man was fun. I didn't say it was a great film. I just thought it was fun. Evil Dead
Right.
Burn didn't have any ties with this at all. It's not a great film. It's like I said, it's the worst. Like I said in my opening review, it's the worst. It's out the franchise, and there's other people that's like if you just look at it as a comedy or you look at it this way, I was like, nah, I really can't look at it any other way. It just wasn't a good movie to me. It wasn't even funny to me. So yeah, I agree. We have to be objective, and I have to like go in like full thoughts before I just drop a review. That's why I thought about it for a minute when I walked out the theater and just like looking at my notes and just my cousin was just talking to me because I went with him and we was just he loved it, but like I said, he turned his brain off and was just enjoying it for what it was. But for me, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Well, and
For
I can
me,
say
when I came out of the
go
movie
ahead.
theater, I felt like I liked the movie. It's very French horror, and I watch a lot of French horror. I watch a lot of French things, and I'm like, I felt that from the movie, which I like those aspects of it. Maybe not the dog stabbing in the face. We could do it without that. But for Evil Dead movie, it was missing some humor. It was missing punchlines from the Deadites. Like, the Deadites been seeing weird shit all the time, which is iconic stuff that the Deadites say, like in every movie. But for these newer Evil Deads, which I rank them just in this group, these last three, because they're so different from the other ones, it's this one for me is the least like Evil Dead. The color gradient, the Deadites don't have this kind of like funny, campy kind of a thing. We do get that more in Rise. We do get some more punchlines in Rise from the Deadites. And we get some lore that doesn't really go anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, that's
And
what I would say for that. But maybe we should discuss our overall rankings of all of the movies. Like I said, I like to rank just the older three and then the newer three, but not all six. Eventually, it'll be seven next year. But it's really hard for me to compare these newer ones to the older ones. The budget, the writing, the resources, what they're going for is just totally different. So, and plus, they're all the new ones are filmed, or I'm sorry, are directed by different directors, each one of them. So they are very different. So, Rusty, what would you say is your ranking? You could do all six, or you could break them up like how I will.
I mean, I'll go with my top one's Evil Dead 2 by far. It's the one I kind of look at it like I love them all in different ways other than Burn. And my ranking probably could change. So I kind of look at what which ones I rewatched the most, and that's definitely Evil Dead 2. And then between Evil Dead Rise and Evil Dead 2013, I probably equally watched those about the same. And then the only reason like in the ranking like Army of Darkness is fun. I just for whatever reason I don't watch that one as much. And I've even had some friends say that they don't feel like that one feels like an Evil Dead movie compared to the other ones, but I don't feel that way. And then the 1981, my only thing with that, it's a classic. It's just to me, Evil Dead 2, as you guys know, was a partial, like pretty much a remake of that movie. So like I don't go back and
Hmm.
rewatch the original, but I have a respect for it. So me having it five, down that low isn't like disrespect to it. It's just I kind of have to rank it
Yeah,
on
go sit.
which ones that I like the most. So
Yeah.
and rewatch the most. What about you, Spear?
Oh, I'm
Go
with
ahead.
you. Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is my favorite horror film in my top five. I like a genre that has a little bit of mix in there and it's just kind of like cross. And it had the perfect blend. Sam Raimi, Joe Dante, and John Landis they knew how to do that. They did, with the Howling, American Werewolf in London, and Evil Dead 2, and
Mm-hmm.
then of course Fright Night. They all had cross genres, and I liked it, and still kept the horror. So yeah, Evil Dead 2 is up there, and then after that, I would probably put. Okay, so I've learned to appreciate the Freddy Alvarez one a lot more, probably more than the original one, because the original one it was a film student project, you know what I mean, and it wasn't it didn't it had great ideas, it was good, but it wasn't like the best out of if you look at all the three original Evil Dead films, it's not the best. So I say the Freddy Alvarez one is pretty up there. I changed my viewings on it after watching it again. um Evil Dead Rise would probably be the next one after that. Then the original Evil Dead, and then Army of Darkness would come in right behind that. Because Army of Darkness was fun, but it's not. It don't feel like an Evil Dead. It would feel like a
Yeah.
completely different film. It's
Yeah.
almost like Jason and the Argonaut and Clash of the Titans with a little bit of like Sam Raimi vibe to it, with a little Three Stooges in there. It's just a whole different vibe. And Wrath is the weakest one. It's the weakest one out the franchise to me. It's like the
Very.
lowest tier one. Yeah. But Evil Dead 2 is definitely the number one. It's the number
Yep.
one.
That was a good call out for the Three Stooges. I know where he does the eyes. And,
Yeah. It's all Three Stooges, man. Three Stooges, Clash of the Titan, Jason and the Argonaut with just Evil Dead tied to it.
yeah, good points.
What
So I'm
about
gonna
you,
say
Mel?
my ranking. All right. I'm gonna rank them all six together, but I do think that they should be ranked separately in their groups. But I'll rank them all together. I'm gonna say Evil Dead 2, 1987 is my first pick. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Army of Darkness. I just rewatched it, and that thing is fun as hell. Whatever, man. And also, Bruce Campbell looks real good in that. He's peak Bruce Campbell in this movie. Peak Bruce Campbell. All right. Then I'm going to say probably Evil Dead 2013, Evil Dead Rise 2023, Evil Dead 1981. That is, we did the remake. That's the second one. The first one, they never got the rights to it, so they basically remade the same movie. That's fine. And maybe Evil Dead Burn is going to be my last one. So it's just not, there's not the
It's not as
funness
strong as
of
the
it.
other
That's why I
ones.
say the Army of Darkness second, because that one is fun as hell. Yeah, it's just funny. It's just fun. You have a good
Yeah,
time watching it. You could suspend belief of like what is going on and the plot holes and the magic or whatever. It's just fun. You're just having a good time. The one-liners are there, very quotable. Evil Dead Burn, the least quotable for sure. Not quoted
yeah.
in that thing at
Army of
all.
Darkness is a lot of fun. It's just that, but it's like its own thing though. So, but
Yeah.
you gotta throw it in there. But yeah, I say Evil Dead 2 and then throw the Fred Alvarez ones behind it and Rise. And I'm just looking at films that I felt like that was really like really put together well. And that matched the energy almost to original Evil Dead. And then probably like I said, the original Evil Dead after Rise. And then Army of Darkness, then Wrath.
T Money says that if Rise it wasn't supposed to be an Evil Dead movie without its campiness, it's actually for the newer ones, that's the most campy out of the three, out of the newer ones, if you're gonna just do those three. And then Sid Bombi. It's I'm the oddball, but I do love Army of Darkness. That movie is fun. You're having a good time in
Army
that
of
movie
Darkness is
the
fun.
whole
It's a fun
time. The
movie.
whole time. You're having
It's
a
a
great
fun
time watching
movie.
that movie.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a fun movie, and I heard a lot of women compliment how handsome Bruce Campbell was. You ain't the only one.
He looked great. His peak Bruce Campbell, baby. He looked. Let me tell you that. Look at the DVD. The hole where the DVD is. There's some things going on there. I wasn't the one that came up with that. The internet did. All right. I'm not that creative. But yeah, the ladies loving the Bruce Campbell. Oh yes, Ash versus the Evil Dead series. I don't think Spear and or Rusty, if you guys have really watched that, I've seen it. Um, but we
I
won't put it in
need
this ranking because of the series as like as a whole. But for the movies, yeah,
I've
I need
watched
to
the TV
watch
series.
it.
I would say it does lead a lot more into like what the limitations and stuff are the Deadites do, but that doesn't really that doesn't really affect any of the newer movies at all. So when we have Evil Dead 2013, in between the 2013 and the Rise, we had the TV show 2015 to 2018. So that's what was going on with the Evil Dead franchise at the time. I believe you could stream it on Netflix. That's where I saw it originally, but it might have moved. I'm not sure. So I would recommend that for sure.
It's
That's
on
like peak Ash.
it's on Prime. I'm gonna
Okay.
watch probably like 3 or 4 episodes and see what it's talking about, and then I give you my thoughts on it so far. But I was watching it. I don't know what happened. I just kind of got lost in the sauce with everything. But from what I saw, it looks really good.
I feel like it's good. Your main characters are good. They're fun. You like them. You like Ash. I actually do quote the show a lot. I live in Florida and I kind of live near Jacksonville. And when they find Ash, Bruce Campbell Ash, he's in Jacksonville and they refer to the people in Jacksonville as water trash. I'm not saying people from Jacksonville are water trash. They say that in the show. So I constantly say stuff like those people are water trash. Sorry, people from Jacksonville. I love you. I go to Jacksonville all the
Mhm.
time. But in the show, they said it, and there's a lot of quotable things that they say in that show. So it is more along the lines of the older Evil Dead, like that kind of a feeling, compared to the newer Evil Dead, where these are more maybe serious and gritty. Not as campy. Not as campy.
Right. But yeah, I mean, look, I love the franchise. I like some of the remakes and what they're doing, but just the campiness can come back and just do it differently, but just I don't know, do something different. Like if you're gonna rap, bring something new, like bring something fresh. I hope the next director that takes it, like do something, fix the mistakes that Burn did, because there's a reason why Burn flopped. It's not because of everything that came out is not because of that. There's nothing. The Odyssey didn't come out before Burn, so there's no excuses. There's nothing out. Supergirl tanked. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what? Why this movie didn't do good? You know what I mean?
Right. It says here that the plot of Wrath is follows a young French bride moving to her husband's isolated American family estate where she faces the abusive spouse, sinister in-laws, and brutal Necronomicon awakening. That sounds like Burn. Wait, is this
Yeah, it
incorrect?
sounds like the same plot as Burn. So like they're not learning their lessons.
No, it says follows her husband. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
It may be
maybe it's that
unconfirmed
same
though too.
house. Maybe it's that same house. I don't know. In
Hopefully not.
1972,
They better not do the same thing again.
No,
they it
do
says they
something
wanted to
different.
make a similar look to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That they wanted to be that 1970s filmy, grainy look. All right,
No
we'll
man,
see. April
we
2028.
we getting bombasted with enough Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes right now. It's like
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
we don't need no more innuendo, no more inspired Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We getting bombasted by a bunch of Texas Chainsaw like Curry Barkers, and then we got the one Glenn Powell is producing. So it's like we getting too much Texas Chainsaw. I don't know why people keep going back to that genre.
Yeah, I don't know. We're getting that Camp Crystal Lake TV show. I'm excited for that. You could put it into a TV show, maybe. But we don't need another movie. Yeah.
The Camp Crystal Lake may actually be a winner for Peacock, and I think they need one right now. They're the only
Okay.
streaming service that don't have a winner. They haven't had a winner in a while at all. I don't think. Not
Hmm.
really. Nothing that people is just going around talking about. You know what I mean? Not like how Paramount or HBO Max or even Apple, Peacock is never. No one's never talking about none of the stuff that's getting produced from Peacock, other than Love Island.
Sid
So
says, I wish Raimi had continued making films in the genre like Drag Me to Hell. His latest film is Send Help. But that's not like Drag Me to Hell and that's not like Evil Dead. There is some comedy in that movie. It's not that much comedy, honestly, even though I had a good time watching that movie. I love
Sin
Dylan
Hell was
O'Brien and I love
cool.
Rachel McAdams.
Shit, Hell was cool, but it's not. It's nothing like the old Sam Raimi stuff. This is more like a watered down version of something he would do. Even if he did like like the Sam Raimi who tried drama like a Simple Plan, which that was a great movie too. But
Hmm.
like this is not like Sin Hell was like it had the Sam Raimi vibe, but it wasn't exactly like Sam Raimi. Especially that ending. The ending was so shit. It was shit. I feel like the ending should have been like War of the Roses in 1989 with Michael Douglas and Sharon Kathleen Turner. Like neither one of them made it out. That's how I feel like this should have ended like that.
I like Sam Raimi. I even like the Doctor Strange Sam Raimi. I'm the only one. I swear I'm the only one.
Hate
I
that
think it had a
shit.
lot of no. It was fun, man. It was fun having the Doctor Strange zombie. Like I don't care what y'all say. Like I had a good time with that movie. So
That
do not
wasn't
think about
him.
it too deep.
That wasn't him. That like don't get me wrong. The movie had some great ideas. I love the sequence when it was just both of them in the scene together, and then they're
Yeah,
in this house. They got a beat dark hole, and I was like, he
I love
lives
it.
in that
Yeah.
dark hole.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was cool, but man, that movie was some bullshit. And I don't
Okay,
think
for
they
a
had.
Marvel movie, yeah, it had some things that we really didn't get to, but for some of those sequences, I'm telling you, I had a great time with that. Like you were saying with Sam Raimi, some of that, but
But
I
I
loved it.
do
I've seen
agree
it
he
like five
need.
times.
I do agree he need to go back to like to the roots. And like Drag Me to Hell or like these types of movies like that. He do need to go back to his rudiments a little bit. And then if he do want to do a drama, like go back to doing like something like a Simple Plan, or if you want to do a superhero movie like Dark Man, like go back to this type of style. So he could do it all. It's just the right script. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
With the Army of Darkness, he wrote it and I believe also directed it with his brother Ivan Raimi, which I saw that at the end credits. Actually, I'm assuming that's his brother. I don't know if that's actually his brother.
Yeah,
Could be his
it's his
cousin.
brother. I saw the
So
yeah,
I
it's
think
his
that's
brother.
why they had such a good time with it because it's like just two brothers like writing a thing together. I don't know. That was fun. But I think it's like with Send Help, his latest one. It's just not as fun. Maybe it needs
Yeah,
to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more comical, and then that's where it can rise the horror comedy aspect of it. I think that's what he does well. The dramatic stuff. I haven't seen the simple movie that you were
You should
talking about.
watch it. You should
Yeah, I'll
watch
watch
it.
it. Should I watch that before Velocipaster?
Hey, nah, go ahead, watch your fun movie first, and then get into
and
simple plan. Don't forget, Sam Raimi also produced televisions. Like he produced some of my favorite television series, like Hercules and the Legend Journey and Xena Warrior Princess, and he did
really,
Spartacus. Spartan,
Oof.
yeah,
I did not know that. Did you
yeah, he
guys?
produced it. He
Honestly,
directed a few
Okay.
episodes.
man,
Did
I
you
think
guys
about
like?
Xena Warrior Princess all the time. Okay, all the time. Living rent free. Go ahead,
uh,
Rusty.
Yeah, I did. I watched those shows too, like growing up. Did you guys like his western, The Quick and the Dead? That was excellent too.
Hell yeah, I
I
love that
love it.
movie.
I love it.
I love that movie. It was great. Russell Crowe, Sharon Stone, Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
Gene Hackman.
Hell, I may rewatch that tonight.
Yeah,
He
it was a
did this
great movie,
after Army of Darkness, 1995, and
and it
a
was
good
great.
runtime, less than 2 hours.
It
Love it.
was great. It was a Sharon Stone vehicle, and
Oh, okay.
it was Russell Crowe before he was Russell Crowe, and it had Gene Hackman and it had Leonardo DiCaprio. And Sharon Stone talks about how she had to fight for Leo to be in the movie. They didn't want him.
Because he's too pretty.
I don't know what the deal was. He wasn't like
He is
Leo
though.
Titanic. He was like the
Yeah.
Leo being a character actor going into like was
Uh,
eating Gilbert Grape
What is
Yeah,
or
he?
like
I saw some of
Basketball
that.
Diaries. He wasn't Titanic Leo yet.
Yeah, Sid makes a good point. Spider Man and Spider Man 2, which are really good Spider Man movies. I
Yeah, I
like
mean,
those, and
Spider
I've
Man Two
rewatched
still
those
the best
movies
Spider Man.
so many
yeah,
times. I've rewatched them so many times. They're that trilogy, even though I think he just did the first two, right?
He
So
did three.
good.
He did three of them.
He did
He
all
did.
three of them. That
Yeah.
trilogy is excellent. And then this new Tom Holland trilogy, well, we'll get the last movie. It's four movies, I think, isn't it? We'll get the last one this month in a couple weeks. Next week? It's coming. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We're getting the new one. So yeah, Sam Raimi, he's a goat. But as far as I know, that I've seen from other directors of this franchise, the newer ones talk about, they've all been blessed by Sam Raimi to continue on with the franchise. So he believes in all of them. He believes in Lee
Yeah.
Cronin. He believes in Sebastian Vicek and Fede Alvarez. So
yeah.
he had faith in all of them. They're
Uh,
Sam Raimi approved.
I can't believe that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell actually they produced and had a part of executive producer, I think, in Burn. Like, I don't know. Like, did you watch this movie before you released it? I'm not
Do
sure
Burn
what
you
Burn
happened.
so
Notice?
no,
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 Evil Dead
burn.
Oh,
Burn.
Burn.
Yeah, they were part of
Oh,
So
it.
Bruce
yes.
Campbell went on record and saying he didn't like the script. He
Oh,
said
okay.
he
I
didn't
didn't see
like the
that.
script.
Okay.
He said, yeah, he said he didn't like the script, and he said that like he didn't like the direction they went with it, but his name is attached to it because he just so like it's just that old saying, just because you attached to a film doesn't mean you had like any type of credibility. Like
Input. Yeah.
yeah, like I think what's it called? Timothy Oliphant said executive producers they do absolutely nothing. They just there and they don't have no control over anything. So I think Bruce Campbell just was trying to supervise the script and tell my nah guys, I don't think this is gonna work. And then Warner Bros. Like, nah, we just gonna go with it anyway. Your name can still be attached to it, but we just gonna go with what we got right now. We
He didn't
trust it.
like the script. Interesting.
Yeah, I
I
Yeah,
mean,
should
he
watch that
said he didn't
interview.
like the script.
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that was like Tarantino's name was used, and one spoonful of chocolate,
One spoon of fudge chocolate.
and then
Oh
him
yeah, you
with
guys
Jordan
both saw
Peele.
that.
Yeah, I didn't. It
That
had
movie
issues.
sucked too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that movie sucked too.
he said it
Yeah,
a
you
lot
both
more.
don't like that movie.
I didn't like
I
him
do.
either, but it's the same thing where they paid for like Jordan Peele's name. I can't stand when they do that shit.
Right, because it's not a movie from Jordan Peele. Because all those movies are Jordan Peele's movies are really
But
good when he
but
does them. But just attaching just having his name on it is like
But Evil Dead Burn didn't have it plastered across that it was like Bruce Campbell or Sam Raimi either that I know of on the posters. So that's it's a little bit different.
Nah, it
I mean, they're
did.
executive producers. That's what it
Yeah,
says.
that's what I'm saying. So they was like
Mhm.
involved, but not all the way involved. They
Right.
just let that person do their thing. They just like probably asked them to come in, just like look at it and oversee it, and but that doesn't mean that they got the final word in. So, a lot of actors and directors do this now. Like Sam Raimi tried to be like Steven Spielberg. He wants to produce a lot of stuff, but he doesn't want to direct all of it. You know what I mean? So that's basically what
Yeah.
he's been doing like the last couple of years. He have his name tied to it, but it's not him like being all the way involved. You'll know if it's a Sam Raimi product or not.
Right. Yeah. No. If it's Sam Raimi, it says Sam Raimi like all the way. Just like send help. We know that is Sam Raimi, 100%. And I don't know
But
about any movies that he's coming out with himself that he's not just being a producer on, but it does seem like there's time between movies, between the movies that he does. So maybe he's just producing a lot.
yeah, he is. Like I said, he did Spartacus. He did and the original Spartacus, which I loved that show. I loved it.
That's a good show.
All three seasons. And then like he did Hercules and he did Xena and he
Love
did he,
Xena.
he produced a lot of television
Yep.
series. So yeah, he's busy. He's busy
Did
producing and go ahead.
did he do House of Usher? Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I need to
Yeah,
watch
he
that
Oh,
did
show.
the
that one.
Fall of the House of Usher. That was all right.
Nah, the house Spartacus, the House of Usher. Like they
Oh,
brought
sorry.
a character back from the dead and
Oh, sorry.
tried to like make him the cop, but
I mean, that's
it
Mike
ended on
Flanagan.
season one because it's so much time that went past Spartacus. Like no one was interested.
Oh, I see. I unfortunately I did not really watch that TV show. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Mike
You
Flanagan
should
Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, it's
you
excellent.
should watch
With
Spartacus.
Flanagan.
Yeah,
That's Mike Flanagan. Yeah.
by
So,
So
Flanagan with Carrie. I seen some stills from Carrie. That looks interesting.
yeah. So here's a
oh,
question
I'm
back
on.
on back on our rankings. I seen that people include Lee Cronin's Mummy in it. Do you guys include that? What are your thoughts on the Mummy that released? I think
What
this
is it
this last
tied with
spring.
Evil Dead?
Yeah, because
There's a
like
mention of the mummy in which movie? It's got to be Rise. The mummy references Rise.
so,
It's
I
something
think
like
if you
that.
I think if you look online, like I think it was originally supposed to be, but I think it connects to the universe. It's I think Lee Cronin said it is in the universe, but then you could say Cabin in the Woods is the same thing because that technically has Deadites in it too. So that's a much better movie. I don't include the Mummy in my ranking, but
No,
The
I'm not gonna
Mummy.
include it
I
in this
don't.
Evil Dead ranking, but I like the mummy. I don't know. I like that we went to Egypt and we were doing stuff over there. I love that. I love that we were over there. Let's do more stuff over there. That's great. I love it. Actually, I had a great time with that movie. Don't think too deeply into it. But for what it is, I like it. It's not that complicated. Don't look
Yeah,
too deeply into the
I
plot.
would. I wouldn't put the Mummy in there. I don't. I think that movie messed up on a lot of levels because they missed. They should have called it something else then because I think
Right.
it's just people was expecting the Brandon Fraser movie.
It
So
right. She was mummified, but it was really confusing because you had to. It's technically Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. That's I know it's The Mummy. It's Lee Cronin's The Mummy. You have to say it like that because it's confusing otherwise. I do like that movie. Honestly, I like it.
not Brendan Fraser's movie
No,
no, it's
I
not
like
Brandon
I
Fraser
like
movie.
those too, and I rewatched them, but
or
they
Tom
get a little
Cruise's.
bit too silly. No,
Yeah.
that's the worst one. That's the worst. That's the worst. The Mummy.
I,
That's the
I don't
Hey,
even
worst.
the
remember that
man,
movie.
the man tried to open the monster universe back. I give him a break. He tried something and it just didn't land. Picked the wrong one.
Yeah, Sid, the skin peels were good. I loved that. I don't know. I had a great time with the mummy. I mean, that little girl, that's a messed up little girl. I like that we're in Egypt. I like we're doing stuff there. I had a great time with that movie. That movie is fun to me. Lots of gore in that in a fun way. Evil Dead Burn, gore, but it's not fun. It's just not fun. There was no fun in that.
Yeah. But
Cabin
yeah,
in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is so good. That's a good
That so
movie.
that is my favorite. That probably is my favorite horror movie other than The Thing. But
Cabin in the Woods was so good. I was so unexpectedly did not expect it to be that good.
yeah,
I didn't know what I was walking into when I watched it, and I was blown away by it completely.
When I
agree.
saw Cabin in the Woods, I was like, because I liked the supernatural extraterrestrial aspect of it. That movie's old, so if you haven't seen it, sorry, spoilers. I told you guys, full spoilers earlier in this chat. Full spoilers for all movies related that we're talking about. No, that movie is super good, classic, and I feel like that movie is a classic cabin movie, which is what a lot of these Evil Dead movies are. Classic cabin movies, except for Rise, and maybe not Burn. That's like a house. Could have been more cabiny to me.
Here's a question that I don't know: was The Evil Dead the first movie in a cabin, or are there other ones before that?
In a cabin,
Yeah,
ever?
just cabin in the woods with.
You're
I don't know.
asking
I'm
me some
asking.
trivia
I don't
here.
know. I don't know. I'm
No,
asking
you
the
do know.
chat.
You have the answer in front of you.
I do not know. I do not. I I bet.
Man,
You
what
typed it up.
year Friday 13 come out? What movie Friday 13 came out? I
Was it
think it came out
78?
before Evil Dead, right? I think
It
in
was
Friday
after.
13, I
1980.
think, is 79.
Yeah, it was yeah, it was about 80, 79 or 80 because Carpenter's Halloween would have been what 78, right?
Yeah.
We got some old people
So
here in the
technically,
chat. Let's
yeah. So technically, Friday 13 would have been the first cabin, and
Yeah.
then Evil Dead.
Would you
But to be
consider,
fair,
well,
in
I guess the hotel in The Shining, 1981, is that like a,
that's not a
that's got
cabin.
cabins?
it's a hotel. It's
It's
a
a
little bit bigger.
hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hotel.
Nah. It
That
was
cabin
Friday
vibes.
13th. I say Friday 13th, and then but Evil Dead was like the first movie of possession in the 80s that kind of brought back possession where we was just getting bombasted with the exorcist. So it just kind of brought that possession idea back. And then Daryl Argento came out with demons and completely flipped it on our heads.
Oh, yeah, Demons and Demons 2. So good. Demons 2. Highly rewatchable, that one, too.
I like the first one too. The first one was
I
fun.
like the first one. I like I like the second one that it references, like watching the first one, like if it's a TV
Oh yeah. No,
episode.
Hmm.
that's what messed me up as a kid
That
because like I grew up watching like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, but like Demons 2 is the one that screwed me up because of like coming out of the TV and I was only a few years old. So like 6 years old and I watched that Demons movie and I was like it messed me up for sure. So it's like way
you've got
It was on
scarier.
definitely
another
a
level.
childhood trauma from that,
Oh
from
yeah.
watching Demons 2. Yeah, what happens in that movie is messed up for real. Like definitely. And it's also apartment complex. Apartment complex can be terrifying, as we've seen
So
in
Yeah.
Rise and also Demons 2.
I don't know these movies, but it says Equinox was the first precursor, like 1970. I don't know that one. And then Within the Woods in 1979.
I haven't seen either of those, but
I haven't
I've
seen that
heard of
neither.
Equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I haven't seen Equinox. That sounds like a movie I would watch. An old movie? A very old movie. No, I'm just kidding. I have
Did
seen
you?
a bunch of older
I haven't
movies.
watched it in a while, but what about Cabin Fever? That's a newer one in the 90s or
Hell
2000s.
yeah. When that
Yeah.
guy touches that girl and it's all sticky and gross, I'm out. But I love it.
That's
So
Eli.
good.
It's Eli Roth best movie.
Honestly, no, it's true because Eli Roth, man, he's a hit or a miss. But that one does slap. The other ones, a lot of other ones, especially these newer ones
And
he's done, he does.
Hostile.
Hostel. Hostel.
No, I
Yeah.
don't like that one. I don't like that one.
Yeah, Hostel and that movie was probably like his best stuff. After that, I'd say Thanksgiving is probably like his third best.
He did, Rusty, I think I was talking about Green Inferno. I was talking about someone with Green Inferno. I'm like, that's like my family, like Guatemalans. It's like, they're not Guatemalans. I think they're Peruvians. And I'm like, that's just like Peruvians. Like, they're not scary to me. Like, that's like my family when I go visit my
Yeah.
family in Guatemala. I'm like, this is like not scary to me. Like, being in the jungle or whatever, like that.
And that,
Like,
I mean, like those movies like Hostel 2 and Green Inferno, and then like other ones like Martyrs, like those are movies that have gore, and I've watched them, but I enjoyed them. And then you look at Evil Dead Burn, it's like I don't enjoy that, and so that's one thing I struggle
oh,
with. Is like, so if I get comments on my reviews like not liking the gore or whatever. It's like, no, I do like it. It's just like we talked about during this live
I
stream.
know,
It's just
and
like something was different about this
Martyrs.
movie.
Martyrs
It's
is,
not the
to
gore.
me, very rewatchable, and that has a ton of gore in the last act. A ton, so much gore in the last act. But
It's
I
not.
feel like it's very watchable. That one, very watchable, very watchable.
It's not the gore. It's the gore is not the problem. It's just the script. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Sometimes when you got a
it's
bad
weak.
script, yeah, when you got a bad script, it just takes you out of it. It's just, yeah, I'm looking at it from like that brain. Then I try to think about like, okay, let me turn my critic brain off for a minute. Nah, I still didn't like
Yeah.
it. So yeah,
Unfortunately, it just the script it was lacking. I feel like it was the characters. You couldn't just relate really that well to any one of them, and you're just kind of floundering as the audience because you want to latch on to somebody and you can't. In the movies like we were talking about Martyrs, you're relating to the main girl, both of the girls, any of the
yeah,
girls. You're just like feeling for them. You feel for them. Even
Yeah.
this girl that was in the Alice, she was in Climax 2018. You feel for that character. You're like, what is going on with you, woman? Like, you are going through something. It's because she was drugged. But
yeah,
in this movie, you don't feel anything for anybody. You're just kind of all want them to die, and that could be
yeah,
good. For example, what Rusty was saying, like in a frat situation. But you're talking about a family unit, so it's not quite like that. You don't want them all to die, but but us as the audience does because they all suck.
Yeah.
That's what was crappy about it.
yeah,
But that's my idea to enhance any movie. It was like the back rooms in the middle of it. I like the middle scene, but where they're exploring with a group of people. And I would say I would rather just like watch almost an entire movie where that company just drops a bunch of people to survive in there, like 10 people. But um, like Mel said, that's just Cube basically. But I'm okay with that. Like, give me another
Oh,
Cube.
cute.
And I ended up
I
liking
like
Backrooms
you.
later on, but and
I liked it the
Right.
that's a
first time I watched it. Yeah,
yeah. It's like
I like
Burn. I
the
don't.
back rooms.
Yeah, and Burn. I don't think I'm gonna like in the future. Backrooms was one where I was kind of mixed on, but then I watched it again and noticed things in the background, and it's like more of a cerebral type of movie, and I did like ended up liking it better. So I just don't think that's gonna happen with Burn for me. But what about you all?
nah, yeah. I don't think. I may not watch this movie for another 5 or 6 years or whatever. But nah, I think I'm done. It depends on how
Yeah.
Wrath go. If Wrath go pretty well, I may go and give this another rewatch. But nah, I'm good.
For this movie, I feel like Burn, unfortunately for me, is not that rewatchable. Just the character is so unlikable. I like some of the kills, but that's not enough to warrant for me to watch the whole movie again, like 2 hours of it. Um, I wouldn't, for example, I wouldn't buy the DVD of it or something. I wouldn't get merch of it. Like I didn't love that movie enough for that. Or other Evil Dead uh movies is more iconic where you could find yourself either purchasing the DVD or quoting the lines or just becoming more part of the zeitgeist of yourself, and but this one is not really.
Yeah.
So I
You mean
probably wouldn't
Yeah.
watch it again.
you're not gonna buy the collector's edition of Evil Dead Burn that's made out of a dog?
Honestly, if I could just listen to the director's commentary, I would be good because I like listening to director's commentary because I'm a weirdo. And I don't know what Jeff in the chat is talking about Greasy Strangler. Jeff know about Greasy Strangler? Y'all don't know about no Greasy Strangler, okay? All right.
No idea what that is.
Oh,
It's
Spear, you need
it
more
was a
grease in your life, is what it is.
really weird
Mhm.
movie that was like a Fantastic Fest a few years ago. That's I got
More
I don't know.
grease.
It's crazy.
Do you want to see close up micro peens? Because you'll see it in Greasy Strangler. You know what? We don't get a lot of nudity in this movie, and we don't need it in Evil Dead Burn.
Don't don't play a clip here so we get banned off of YouTube.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. We can't play no Greasy Strangler here on on YouTube. All right, we will definitely get banned. I think you can watch it on Amazon Prime. That is a movie I would recommend to watch. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and give some final. We have been talking all about Evil Dead Burn, but let's give our final thoughts if we would recommend this movie two people. We did give our ranking. We did go off the rails a little bit talking about other stuff, Sam Raimi movies and stuff like that. I would say Evil Dead Burn, would I recommend? I would say I would recommend to watch it maybe on streaming. You can fast forward through the dog parts and you can go to sleep whenever. So I'm going to say I'm going to recommend it streaming. You don't necessarily have to watch this in the theater. I was very excited because I do like the Evil Dead franchise. Unfortunately, I do feel like it is the weakest, even out of the newer three. So, Spear, what is your recommendation on this movie?
You can stay home and watch it. You don't have to go to the theater and watch it. In fact, you probably can watch it next week, maybe, because I don't think it's gonna stay in the theater with the Odyssey, with Spider Man. There's no room
Yeah.
for Evil Dead Burns. It didn't do good, so yeah, you could probably you'll be able to watch it next week. It'll probably be on HBO Max around the same time Supergirl will.
That's
So
a good
yeah, you can
point.
stay home. You don't have to watch this in the theater. And I would say somebody gonna probably ask, do you need to watch the other films? Nah, you don't. You
At
don't have to
least
watch it.
Rise, the beginning of Rise, yes.
Yeah, for the post credit scenes, yeah.
For the post credit scene, yeah. And for you, Rusty, is it a recommendation from you to watch Evil Dead Burn?
I would recommend it for people that just want to see something with gore at streaming later. I'll be nice about it. I didn't like it. I wish I would have, and I don't like that I didn't like it because I want to see more of Evil Dead. But that's who I would recommend it to. Maybe I won't say like as far as like being able to turn your brain off. I would say for people that don't expect like if you're not looking at characters or stories or anything that constitutes a good movie and you just want to watch a gory horror movie, then check it out later on streaming.
Yeah. I would say the same thing too. And also if you're
Well,
just a fan, diehard fan of the franchise and you just want to watch it, then yeah, just go ahead and watch it. Just add that to your repertoire.
right, exactly. I never like to dissuade people from watching a movie. You know, I watch a bunch of terrible movies on purpose, but I would say this one you could probably skip the theater and wait until it goes on streaming. But if you really want to watch it in theater, go ahead and watch it. You might get something out of it
Yeah.
for sure. You'll feel something at the end of it.
Yeah.
You'll feel something. But I'm going to say thanks, Rusty and Spear, for being on my live this late Friday evening. This was a good conversation to have about Evil Dead Burn. I know the Odyssey just came out yesterday, but we wanted to give people a chance to watch this in the theater. You know, you can't just talk about this right away, full spoilers, because you want to give people a chance. So I hope everyone who watches this has seen it or is planning to watch it, or maybe doesn't care if they get spoilers or not. At this point, you could probably find the whole thing on the internet if you wanted to. So, thank you so much, guys, for being on my live. But any final thoughts? I'm going to say, yeah, I think we've pretty much said everything we wanted to say about Evil Dead Burn. So, thank you, and I will see you guys on the next live.
All right.
Take care.